Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning to it. Hope you're well on this Ballsmic Wednesday. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com, where you go to listen live via the streaming. Free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do, remember this, we got you covered all 3 hours, posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault every day upon the conclusion of the show, and it's brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to our great sponsor, the folks at Southland Commercial, CarltonDean.com. If you don't know how to invest in commercial real estate, you can find out more going to CarltonDean.com. Also, we're on YouTube. If you want to watch the show as it's performed live, go to YouTube.com. Everybody can get to YouTube. Like, no matter what office restrictions you have, most everybody can get to YouTube, right? Although I have to admit, I'd like it if at my kids' school they would get rid of YouTube, because Clark goes down the rabbit hole and ends up somehow always in something violent.
So he's watching wrestling matches from the past?
It starts with something, and then it ends with, like, them chasing a serial killer. No, this isn't good.
Where would he get the idea to chase a serial killer?
No, but it's not me. No, I don't posit that to him. That's not something we're talking about at the house. I don't know why, but he's fascinated by the idea of something being violent, and then is there more violence? And then the next video down is offering an opportunity to follow another video, which is just, it's a whole nother level of parenting that I get now that all of us are, going to be part of.
I was there at the advent of this time. I was taking computer literacy classes in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade when the internet was brand new. Broadband internet was just becoming a thing. And ebombsworld.com.
Oh, yeah.
That had all kinds of stuff.
Well, that LimeWire, as we've talked about before,
sure.
got dicey.
Well, LimeWire was where you could download whatever you wanted, but eBombs World was just a website with all kinds of stuff from, PG funny all the way through very, very adult funny. And so that's what we would do in our free time in computer literacy class. So, yeah, that's happening.
I don't like it, Tom. I don't like it one bit. This is a shake my hand, get off my lawn thing. I don't like it. It's ridiculous because I don't know about it till weeks afterwards, and then it's, Clark was down watching this and watching this. It's all Bryson's up telling me. Bryson's a tattletale. I like that about him on his younger brother.
Do you?
Yeah, well, sometimes. Anyhow, by the way, on YouTube, if you type in ESPN Tallahassee, you can watch us perform the show. Thanks to those of you who do, all 10 of you. JCS at 97.espnradio.com is the email address. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. The WTSM app is free. You can listen to that on your mobile devices. So I don't know whether or not last night's dramatic come-from-behind win is the catalyst for something good or not. I don't know if it's going to be a moment that we look back on and celebrate and say, well, that was it. That was the moment. Remember, they were down in the dumps after a dreadful week where they had just played so terribly. And then they got down 7-0 like that. And it looked like the continuation of a sorry set of affairs, only to be overcome and won in a dramatic fashion with 2 outs in the ninth. Mr. Flowers coming through. I like that kid a lot. But baseball comeback, if you missed it last night at Hauser, it happened for Florida State. And this was after a dreadful week the week before with a loss 1-0 to Florida, lost to Florida Gulf Coast 5-2. Then you lose 2 out of 3 on the road against Virginia Tech. One in which you led 10-2, you lose 13-12. Then you go out on that Sunday and your team gets absolutely flattened, 17-0. In which at one point the Hokies are double stealing up 11-0. You talk about feeling, impotent to do anything about it. That'll hurt your feelings. And then you're down 7-0 to Jacksonville, and you think, well, what is let me ask the question, because I don't know if you thought it last night, but it certainly was worth asking. And in perception, sometimes, that's reality, right? But when they gave up, listen, baseball's a weird game. Teams are sometimes pronounced dead, and they make runs improbably and do things you wouldn't expect them to do based on overwhelming evidence of a regular season. That's why Tom and I are always bringing up the 83-win Cardinals that win the World Series. They were barely good enough to finish over 500. Playoff scenario was such that they could get in, and they win the whole thing. It can happen. Other times, teams can look absolutely dominating, as if there's no way you're going to unend them, unseat them, see that Seattle Mariners team that wins 110-plus games, and they don't even make it to the World Series after a season like that. So we know that about baseball, and because of that, I'm very, very careful to not make certain proclamations about a team in the middle of a baseball season or early in a baseball season. But I will tell you, I haven't seen Florida State baseball go through a situation where you can lose 1-0 to somebody. It was a well-played game. It was a check swing. You lost 1-0 on the road at Florida. All right, it's frustrating. It's especially frustrating because it's on the heels of some other losses against them that you think, good God, are we ever going to score? But it's not crazy. It's not weird. It's not a strange result. It's not indicative of anything. Then you lose and you leave like 16 guys on base against Florida Gulf Coast. And the frustration about that is, well, you finally went on the road to face some good teams and you lost both games. And then you're in conference play and you're on the road and you blow a 10-2 lead after beating them 9-2 the day before, and you lose a series in, emphatic fashion, 17-0 on Sunday. And once it was married with the basketball failure, this is a tough week for Florida State fans. This has been a brutal time for Noles. And so it can take on maybe a strange feeling that isn't necessarily so. But when they got down last night 7-0, I asked myself, are they quitting? Now, that seems completely unfair in retrospect. That seems maybe a bit dramatic, maybe over the top. But they just looked like they were listless, like they didn't care. That seems, again, that can be very strange because what you would say is, well, how could you draw that conclusion? It's a pitcher having a bad first inning. And that's true, too. That's Carp going out and getting lit, and you're just like, well, that may not be indicative that the team has got a problem or that there's infighting in the locker room or that. But when it's on the heels of 17-0 and it's on the heels of blowing a 10-2 lead, and it's at the back end of a week that was dreadful for a team that is ranked number 1 in the country, you begin to wonder, what is awry? What is amiss? What am I missing here? So maybe last night is a catalyst for this team to start playing well or to be locked in or more focused or whatever you want to describe it as. I don't know. Or maybe they're not nearly as good as we thought they were going to be, and they got lucky to find a way to come back in a game that they were down 7-0 in dramatic fashion, but it's still a sign that there are real problems on the horizon.
Well, I think you can look at this game, and there are more positives than negatives because Carp has been really good all season long. So
that's right.
That's kind of an outlier performance for him. And then, they give up 3 or 4 runs total, but only 1 earned run in 8 1/3 innings. The bullpen gives you.
After being so bad.
Exactly. So big-time response from the bullpen in 8 1/3 innings. And then you have the offense coming to life and cashing in where it didn't a couple of times in the last week, and certainly producing the big inning with a big hit, bases loaded, down a run with 2 outs and 2 strikes. I mean, this isn't a tie ball game and the winning run comes home. You're down a run. So this is a base hit that goes from an
scored
L
3 in the ninth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the type of hit with 2 strikes and 2 outs that takes the L out of the book and puts a W in the book. So I think there are a lot more positives there. But to answer your question, sure. First 20 minutes after the first pitch, half an hour, I get home and I check Twitter and I see we're down a touchdown essentially. And I go, are you kidding me?
Well,
I think this is after a 5:30 in the morning practice. That's the thing. There are circumstances here. Monday, you have Mike Martin hosting a 5:30 a.m. practice because he wants to send a message to his team, and this is the response that they give. That's where it meant more to me than is typical of you're on a slide and then you lose again, or you're down big again. It's that a message was sent, and then you see that's the score, and you go, oh, no.
You know how I make fun of, all the time I make fun of these team meetings. Anytime, any professionally, college, doesn't matter, whenever I hear about team meetings, somebody called a team meeting or there's some sort of drastic reaction to performance in a series, in a game, whatever it might be, that alters the schedule to the level that you're talking about. I roll my eyes because usually to me that is, you're putting a tourniquet on something, but the bleed's not really going to stop. You've got real problems. It's an issue that if, I don't know, you don't get help for soon, a team meeting isn't going to save you. But it's odd to me that he would feel the need to do that, right? I mean, we're still pretty early in the season, relatively. I mean, now we're starting to get into the meat of it, but relatively early. You haven't had Luke. He's been out. He played, but he's been out. You're still figuring out some of those arms in the bullpen. Mendoza hasn't played all year long. He is going to dramatically alter. He's going to lengthen your lineup. He's going to make you better defensively. He's going to allow more opportunity for you guys, for you to set out different kinds of lineups because of the position changes and all the things that you can do there with the DH. I mean, this is still not a finished product team. This is still not a team that is anywhere close to, being the team that we think they're going to be by the season's end. It just seemed awfully early in the year to be pressing the panic button, which, for an experienced coach, tells me he had a bad feel. He's not liking the way that they're practicing, the way that they're interacting, the way that they're playing in games, the way that they're responding to certain suggestions or buttons pushed, whatever it might be. So I guess it's 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers to you with this team right now. I don't know. They have certainly not been the team that we thought they would be.
No, but we knew the bullpen would be a concern. It's just I think the inconsistencies of the offense is what troubles us a little bit more. Now, again, it comes to life last night, and not all Tuesday night games are created equal. You're fond of saying at times that you'd rather lose one and learn something about your team
about your guys, yeah,
than run out somebody that's not going to help you down the stretch and leave guys that might be able to help you in the bullpen or on the bench, and they don't get much needed experience. This was a big game. It's in Hauser. So you have the multiplier effect. You get down a big number, and everybody knows what happened last week because people who tend to show up at Hauser on a Tuesday night are diehard baseball fans. So they know that we had a 1-4 week after being number 1 in the country. And so you fight through the vacuum feeling that you have in the ballpark, and you come all the way back, and you get a dramatic win. Is it a launching point? It's impossible to know, but it's certainly better than the alternative.
Well,
if that thing held at 9-2 or 7-0 or whatever, I mean, then you're in big trouble, and you're talking about something much bigger today.
Probably, right? Because even
off.
then I would put the caveat in there. Even then I'd say, well, let's not go crazy. Because I've been doing this for 18 years. I've seen some weird seasons. I've seen a team that looked like, at the halfway point, they're sitting around 500, and you're going, what in the world is this? And then find a way to make it to a super regional and be, a pitch or two away from going to Omaha, knowing that they weren't that good a baseball team. And I've seen ones that looked like they couldn't be beaten, get beat. So.
Yeah, well, again, you might not be asking definitive bigger questions, but you'd at least be concerned.
Curious.
Aloud, and you'd be concerned aloud. But the good news is that the 2 principal things that helped you win this ball game last night were the things that have been inconsistent.
Yeah,
Harp has been the constant, but
yeah.
He was the one that blew up last night. The bullpen gets you where you need to go, and then the lineup takes you the rest of the way.
Dwayne Bacon has said peace to Florida State basketball. He is done. He writes today, after deep prayer and consultation with my parents, I have decided to enter the 2017 NBA draft. I am and forever will be a Seminole. This organization has been instrumental in my path, and as I took to embark on my professional career, I will carry the many lessons learned. We are truly family here, and I'd like to thank Coach Ham, Coach CY, Coach Jones, Coach Gates, and the entire faculty and coaching staff for a great 2 years. I'm looking forward to the future. Last year, I made the decision to stay and set specific goals for myself personally to help our team get to the next level. Although the outcome was not as favorable as we had hoped, I am still proud and grateful to have achieved those goals alongside my teammates. Thank you, Dwayne Bacon. And then he signs it, and you can see that. If you go to Seminoles.com, that letter is available to be viewed. So it's not a surprise at all that Dwayne Bacon moves on now from Florida State basketball. Will be very interesting to see where he's drafted. He's a kid that can take over games. He's a kid who has an NBA body, and he's a kid who's got huge holes in his game. And it will be interesting.
And it's also Chad Ford, who, take it or leave it. And there are any number of sites that you can go to for the NBA draft. But Chad Ford from ESPN says, firmly entrenched in the second round of projections. That's where they see him because he doesn't have the consistency of an outside shot, but he has the body.
Yeah, well, that's a problem because second-round money's not guaranteed. And if that is accurate, I find it a curious decision to go to the NBA. When I think, in this case, perhaps another year would have helped. I don't know. Maybe getting to a team and getting professional, day-to-day professional coaching will be a difference maker. Certainly, it would seem to be. That is, you can do that year-round, all day, every day once you're a pro. So it'll be interesting to see. But he has holes in his game. He doesn't defend anybody. That's not always a big deal in the NBA. And he is a guy that obviously you'd like to think can certainly create off the dribble, but he only creates one way. He's not a guy that has proven the ability to go left. And so it'll be fascinating to see what he emerges as. By and large, I think there's no other way to characterize his time here as anything but a success. Obviously, the program has gone forward in a positive way since his arrival. He helped them win a lot of games they wouldn't have otherwise won. He is a guy that could be electrifying when he got hot. He could absolutely take over games. I think the moment we'll remember most, maybe a high-flying dunk in the NCAA tournament against Florida Gulf Coast on the baseline, but probably the Virginia game on the road where in the second half, at a place where very few teams had won at the time, and we certainly hadn't.
Yeah, first few things that come to mind include that Virginia game, and because that performance was truly a one-man show. As we're trying to give the game away late, he's the one that says, no, it's not happening today. But it's also the shot against Florida down there, the O-Dome.
As a freshman, yeah.
As a freshman, they get him
the big shot
to the high key.
Ends up being his favorite spot.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And for the entirety of his career, and it's, I guess in retrospect, not surprising that he made that shot. I think we've done a lot of vetting, a lot of talking over the last few days. I did it yesterday on Seminole Headlines and did it also on Monday with you, Tom. And you know, people want fire and brimstone. They want to believe that you're going to be as angry as they felt when they watched the game. Believe me, we were angry when we saw it. And it's okay to characterize that loss as embarrassing. It's okay to characterize that loss as humiliating, frustrating, aggravating, all of the things that you hear from fans, embarrassing, whatever you want to say. But it's also right to note what the season was and to not lose sight of that. What I end up telling you is that I think two things can be competing and going on at the same time and be true. And I think that I would like to believe that his time, along with the brief time we had Beasley, obviously Jonathan Isaac will probably be next to announce, that it was the start of a new era of Florida State basketball. Now, what comes with that? Well, different expectations based on investment. And if the program is now going to be invested in by the university, and we are going to hold them accountable to a higher standard because monies are being spent, then we'll all look back at this and say that was a good time. We were emerging from a place that would only see us be, at best, middling most years with the intermittent successful season that took us to the tournament, to a new era where we now expect to make the NCAA tournament every year. And if it doesn't happen, coaches get fired, people are held accountable, and you get somebody else in here who can. Those can both be true. And I think I'd like to believe that's what his brief time here is going to represent, that Isaac's is going to represent, that Beasley's is going to represent, is that we're moving into a place where we can rightfully expect more instead of just hoping, wishing, believing without anything to stand on that it's so, right? Let's see if this is now something that is a step in the right direction for Florida State basketball, as opposed to just people willy-nilly with no evidence to the contrary saying, well, I just think we should be better. Well, really? Why? We don't have better players than everybody else. We don't spend as much money as everybody else. We don't care about it. Our fans don't go to the games. So if this is the start of a different time where that's not the case anymore, good. It'll certainly change their legacies, the way we view them, the way we view Florida State basketball, which in the past was not just an afterthought, but a distant afterthought. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Pockets Vegas Wall, made for March Madness. 8 50-inch crystal clear flat screens. You won't miss a second of the action. Corner Pockets, your headquarters for the most watched sporting event in America.
For the win! Gone! A miracle!
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets, come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, my goodness!
Hi, honey. How was your day?
It was fine. Pretty uneventful. How about you?
Well, I called the auditors this afternoon and made an appointment for one to come out to the house.
Wait, what? Have you lost your mind? Auditors? Why would you call them? Now we have to find our tax returns, paycheck stubs, and financial records, not to mention all those forms. Good grief.
Relax, honey. It's not that kind of auditor.
It's not?
No. I called the City of Tallahassee Utilities and scheduled a free energy audit.
Energy audit?
Right. It's when an energy auditor from our own utilities comes out to the house, examines the structure, and checks our energy and water systems, and then recommends changes we might make to save energy, water, and money.
And you said it's free?
Absolutely. It's free from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, our own utilities.
Sounds good to me. Let's save some money.
If you're a City of Tallahassee residential, electric, and natural gas customer, you can schedule a free energy audit. Call 891-4YOU. That's 891-4968. And schedule your free energy audit at a time most convenient for you. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities.
Sometimes diabetes can feel more like don't-abetes. Don't do this, don't forget that. But with a little help from Walgreens, diabetes won't slow you down. Stop by for expert pharmacy care in-store or online via pharmacy chat. Pick up the medications you rely on and get savings on testing supplies from all major brands like OneTouch and Walgreens TrueMetrics. Walgreens has just what you need to do more with diabetes. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Writing job descriptions, sifting through resumes, setting up interviews. Hiring's hard, but Indeed.com makes it easier. Post your job, manage candidates, schedule interviews, all on Indeed. And since independent research shows that Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, easy works. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Killearn Country Club is now offering Discovery membership. Jeff, what is this Discovery membership you're speaking of? During the month of March, you can purchase a 60-day term membership that will be good for the months of April and May, after which you can commit to a full membership at Killearn Country Club. If you commit by June 15th, your 60-day membership fee will serve as your enrollment fee. In other words, after your 60-day Discovery membership, you can join Killearn Country Club, and there's no upfront money due at contract signing. There is no better way to experience the many benefits of Killearn Country Club membership. You and your family will enjoy full access to the beautiful championship golf course, driving range, tennis facilities, fitness centers, swimming pool, dining room, clubhouse facilities, and social events. This is a limited offer, so call Lori Wilkie today at 893-2186, extension 145, to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Again, Lori Wilkie at 893-2186, extension 145.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street, online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. See the modern troubles we have here, Tom. You've got to fix the camera while we're doing a radio show. What the hell?
Was that on the webcam shot that was messing the camera? No?
Throwing the camera around, getting silly with it.
Apparently it's just too zoomed in. So, I'm sorry.
Look at this. People are sneaking a little video viewing in while they're sending it to me. Thank you, Lacey. I'm looking at some of the emails that we got the other day, yesterday, day before, and let's see if I can answer some of these emails because some of you, well, you demand answer, damn it. Richard writes, Jeff, you took a shot on War Chant's forum saying you were too close to Ham and Martin to be objective about their lack of tournament success. And Rich goes on to write, how do all of you, Ira and Corey too, balance being objective and having relationships with some FSU coaches? That from Rick. I like the question, Rick. It's a fair one, and I'll answer it. It can be difficult. There's no question. I think it can be difficult. I will say, one of the things, first of all, I don't know, I guess there's a perception that I'm close to him. I wouldn't say that. I think you could ask him. He wouldn't say that. I mean, does he like me? I hope so. I'd like to think so. I think I've been fair to him. Do we get along when we have radio interviews? Absolutely. Do I spend time with him away from this profession, away from the mic? No, not at all. Never been to his house. Never had lunch with him. No, nothing like that. It's a professional relationship. He knows I'm a member of the media, and as such, he'll give me only so much information. I know he's a head coach, and I have to be free to criticize him. So as far as Ham goes, I'm 100% honest with you, Rich, and everybody. I don't know. He says I took a shot on War Chant. Somebody, I'm sure, was criticizing me. That's fine. That too comes with the business. But no, if I thought honestly that we needed to fire Hamilton, and certainly I wouldn't be saying it now after 26 wins. That's absurd. I mean, everything about this season was an overachievement. And what I warn people about constantly is using a truncated tournament, NCAA tournament, as your guide as to whether or not a season was successful. And I think college basketball does itself, oddly, a disservice as a whole for that. Because there are teams that make magical runs that had very average regular seasons. See Syracuse a year ago that went to the Final Four and they weren't any good. And then there are teams that have magical seasons, have a bad night, and it's over. It's all over. And it's as if none of the other things were accomplished. And that's nonsense. You can't do that. But that is how college basketball decides its champion, and it's a financial reason. And it makes obviously a ton of money for a lot of people, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if you were really trying to figure out who was the best, you'd take the teams that had the most talent and the most success during the course of a regular season, and you'd match them up in a smaller tournament, and they'd play best 3 out of 5 or best 4 out of 7, things like that. That's how you do it. I think I'm pretty pragmatic when it comes to Florida State basketball, to the point where it rubs people the wrong way because they don't want to hear dissenting views about what we are, what I think we can reasonably expect to be as a basketball program, because everybody wants their university to be the best. And they think that everybody wants to come to this university because they love the university. I love the university. Tom does. We know lots of you do too. And that's great. But you have to be realistic about what we are and what we've been, which is historically not much in basketball. And we haven't invested in it the way that, a lot of elite programs do. And so I do kind of go into these seasons with the idea that, man, if they make the tournament, if they're in the top 8 of the ACC, especially the new ACC, you can't ask for much more. Now, depending on draw, depending on you play in a given night, you might be able to be lucky enough to make a run. Do I want to be more? That's a different question. Yes, I do. I want us to be more. But I'm going to use, and I'll answer the second part of the question, too, about Martin in a second as well. But I'll give you this. I'm friends with all of the guys that run the various websites that cover Florida State athletics. And I'm friends with over the years, I've been friends with a good many of them, including my dear friend and producer extraordinaire Tom Wang, who once worked for warchant.com. And Knowles 247, right?
Yeah, I've been around, man.
Yeah, you've been.
I'm the village bicycle of the beat.
So the point is, what I am armed with is knowledge that basketball doesn't move the needle in any way, shape, or form. Articles posted on those websites about basketball get zero traffic. just about nothing. They're blips on the radar. They're not enough to cater to it, and it's because Florida State fans, by and large, don't care. They don't care about Florida State basketball. So I find it amusing when people get very, very angry one time a year over one game as opposed to a season, or they're not angry to begin with that it's not a priority for the university to invest in. And so I don't spend a lot of time worrying about the opinions of those folks because I just don't. I think it's disingenuous. I don't think they're real Florida State basketball fans. I think the number of real Florida State basketball fans are very few. I hope that changes. I hope we see a difference moving forward. I'd love for that to be the case. In truth, very few schools do more than one sport exceptionally well. There are examples, but they're outliers. It's not too often that it happens. So I want that to be different because we've seen what it can be like, what this town is like. Now, we also live here. And so you feel the effects of a great baseball season, a great football season, or a great basketball season differently than the person who graduated in 93, moved to Charlotte, and watches from afar. And those people, they don't care about Florida State basketball. You see it all. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. They're not going to invest a lot on those sites for the reason that I'm explaining, that they don't draw a lot of attention.
No.
I hope it changes.
No, they go to the sites especially because the sites typically are tied more to recruiting for a story about a 2019 running back that says he might be interested in Florida State 2 years from now.
Thousands of people will click on that. Thousands of people will click on that story. You write a story about a team that is going to set or finish second all times in wins in a season for the program in its history. And nobody's reading that article.
Until there's the crashing conclusion. And then everybody reads that one. But the journey, no, not nearly as much. And I can tell you that, too, because I worked on the beat back when we were running in 11 and 12. Sweet 16 followed by ACC Tournament Championship. A pleasant surprise that the numbers got to a certain point, but trust me when I say...
Oh, and that certain point, that's a low standard.
Yeah.
It's a totally low standard, man.
Well, I can tell you because, I turned in an article for the site that I worked for at that time, and I take a look at the traffic that it gets.
And you're proud of what you wrote.
Well, of course I am, because I'm cutting my teeth, man. I'm
and
trying to get better at my craft.
Nobody read it. Nobody cared.
And then I go on over, and I see a guy named Newberg writes an article about, a defensive end that may or may not be coming to Florida State 2 years from now. And it's like 10 times the freaking traffic. And I go, okay, I see how it is. That's not a problem. People don't care, by and large, as much about the basketball team.
All right.
And this is after like a big win over Duke or something like that. It gets a nice little blip for a night. But people, by and large, don't talk about it unless there's, A, a problem, or B, the team is good enough to where they start getting nervous about the results. And they don't want to be embarrassed for the results.
Well, also results then matter because you have something to lose. You put yourself in a position where the games, now you're ranked, so everybody's watching you and you lose, all of a sudden this is embarrassing.
No, I can tell you that it was either 11 or 12. The year that we got the most traffic or the topics, the loss at Auburn, which was inexcusable because they were 300 in the RPI. Yeah. A follow-up loss to Virginia Tech on a Saturday afternoon.
Tough times.
Followed by the win over Notre Dame to send us to the Sweet 16 was another big one. So I'll combine the 2 years. And then it was whenever we lost. And then what needs to be done for the program. The journey, the ride that you go on, that football gets. Football gets a ton of traffic, obviously, in season after every game. Even the bad ones. Even the FCS opponents. Because people talk about, the young kids that play the second half.
So-and-so doesn't, right.
Or whatever. Why aren't we playing this guy more? But the journey for the basketball season is, by and large, not participated on.
Right.
Especially on the sites.
I also think this school, at this school, it's third on the rung for most Florida State fans, graduate supporters of any kind. It's just not like Florida State baseball does well. It's unique in a market like this. They've won everything there is to win except for a national title. But their successes are unquestioned. Right now, there are people certainly who hold that against Martin not having won the national title, and it is infinitely frustrating, especially because they have won everything else there is to win. But they're always good. They're a perennial power. They're always good. And going over to Hauser holds a special place in the heart of many people in this community, and I'm one of them. Although I just said the other day that I think we need to bulldoze Hauser and build a new stadium. I do believe that.
Turncoat Cameron.
We need to get rid of that place. It's time. Crush it. Blow it up. Let's go. Make room for the new football facilities. Build a new Hauser over at the intramural
There's the
fields.
logic, is when you footnote it. Not when you say bulldoze Hauser by
Bulldoze
itself,
it's
people get
fallen
hurt.
to pieces.
But when you say bulldoze Hauser so you can get the new football facilities and build a new park in the IM fields, that's when people go, oh, okay, well, okay.
Now
you
I
wanna
hear
do
you,
something.
Cameron. Yeah.
That sounds
Well,
like you
I'd
just want to destroy the program.
No, what I want is
burn it down.
I want
Pookie.
state-of-the-art facilities the way that many of our rivals are building. I'd like to see that happen. There's no reason. There's no effing reason that North Carolina, Virginia, or any other ACC school ought to have better baseball facilities than Florida State. So that's all I'm saying. That's we need to come on.
Where's all this money coming from is what I want to know, because everybody wants to build something for the basketball team and hire a coach for $3 or $4 million.
Yeah.
This is where I play an athletic director just for a minute. Okay, you'd like that. You'd like a new baseball stadium. That's wonderful. Jimbo's banging my door down because he wants a new facility that rivals that at Clemson. And we need assistant coach salaries for football to go through the roof. I mean, good God, I only have so many dollars, sir.
Well, that's right. You have to decide whether or not you want to be part. You want to be part of the bigger picture. You want to be part of the bigger story. You want to matter. If you don't, I understand. We can just take it to the Blue Bonnet Bowl every year and be a butt-ass average.
Oh, I would think that, football will get the yes answer before baseball or basketball does. But that is part of the greater discussion about the basketball program, is it not?
So let's get with the getting on the football stuff. I mean, let's find a way. You're going to have to do it. It's a shame. It seems a bit odd, a little over the top for amateur athletics. I know. But who are we kidding? It's like I was joking with Corey the other day. I mean, if you want the innocence of just pure competition with the student athletes, go cover the Ivy League, buddy. It ain't happening here. So we live in the real world. And the real world says, bulldoze Hauser, build a new one over there at the intramural fields, and let's get with the getting on the football facilities.
Wouldn't it be kind of fun to cover Army or Navy, for a year, just as a beat reporter for their football season?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'd trade, but it'd just be kind of fun, like as a concept, to follow those kids and learn what the hell they go through.
Yes.
You want to talk about the purity of athletics and competition?
I greatly admire
and priorities
the
where they
discipline
need to be.
and focus that it takes to be in the academies and to be a Division I athlete. It's insane. I talked to the Army golf coach, and he gave me a tutorial, a lesson in exactly what those kids have to do, those men have to do on a daily basis. And it seems absurd. First of all, they don't sleep. They just don't. They get like 4 hours of sleep because the schoolwork is real and what they're preparing for is something much greater. So I agree. But that's not that's not our reality.
That's not ours.
That's not our
we
situation.
We need video games. We need laser tag.
We need to keep up.
A golf simulator is what we need.
Well, you need to keep up with the Joneses is what you need to do. And that's a reality, because here's the thing. We can make fun of that reality. We can say that's not a good thing for college athletics. But this conversation took place years ago. This conversation began to take place before you were born, and I remember it. People saw all of the money being funneled into college football and rightfully predicted that might be the death of it, that the innocence and certainly the amateur athletics aspect of it, the student-athlete aspect of it, was going to be bastardized. And it has been. But that was eons ago, and nobody was going to stop that train from rolling, and they haven't. And this is where we've arrived. And we threw our hat in the ring a long time ago and said we want to eat from the money trough, as I'm fond of saying. You can't suddenly say you don't now. I mean, you're all in. We're all in. So they're going to have to, and you know what? I'm sure it gets old for the people over there. The boosters especially don't like it. People who have to actually write the checks are in a position to be a little uncomfortable with those demands. But I'll tell you what.
That's where Jimbo says his favorite 3 words, too damn bad.
And he's not wrong.
Too damn bad.
And they know he's not wrong. You can't sit in, let's just use this division, what Clemson's built. Go take your virtual tour and look at what Clemson's done recently and some of the national publicity they got from that.
Thank you very much.
You want to be second fiddle in your own division?
Thank you very much.
That ain't happening. No. So it'll be fun to see where this happens. You know what I do wonder about? And we have brought it on long enough here. We got to go to break. But I wonder, with all of the extra money the SEC programs are making from the SEC network, I don't know that it's going to make that big a difference, at least in the initial stages, for in a deleterious fashion for Florida State football. Where it will hurt us is in baseball and in basketball and some of the other sports, where the runoff for the extra proceeds, if you will be spent on new state-of-the-art baseball stadiums, new basketball facilities, and thus they'll end up getting better players and distancing themselves from the likes of a Florida State basketball or a Florida State baseball. And people may not care about that basketball.
That's great, man. That's just great.
These are things you got to think about.
Yes. Well, I was the guy on the economics train quite early.
Yeah. So, and I think everybody knew that. It's just that at some point in football, it's diminishing returns. I think where it'll be interesting is in the other sports, where that will allow for them to begin to distance a little sooner.
So we need somebody that graduated at this university to be the guy who makes the next Google so that we can have Phil Knight money. Listen, because that's what we need.
All it's going to take for a new Hauser, perhaps maybe it's not Dick Hauser, which I know is blasphemous, or we'll have to find a way to have a co-naming rights sort of contest. But Buster Posey Stadium sounds like a wonderful place. Lord knows the man's made a few dollars playing a wonderful brand of catcher right now on the USA team, the World Baseball Classic, which won again last night and plays for the championship tonight.
Won't be catching tonight. That'll be Jonathan Lucroy.
That's correct. Maybe it's a good time to reach out to Buster Posey a night off. Ask him about Buster Posey Stadium.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Radio's Team USA advancing to their first ever final in the WBC, set to take on Puerto Rico Wednesday here on ESPN Radio and on ESPN Deportes. Jerry Krause, known as the architect of the Bulls teams that won 6 championships in the 90s, died at the age of 77. NFL news, Panthers quarterback Cam Newton set to undergo surgery next week to repair a partially torn rotator cuff. And in the NHL, Penguins clinching their 11th straight postseason berth after the 3-1 win over the Sabres.
With Greeny and Golick. Does the NBA have a real problem with marquee players resting? We'll talk with Tim Legler, plus Mel Kiper Jr. on his latest mock draft. It's Mike and Mike, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Tallahassee Sports Authority.
Your station is the great tower of filth mentioned in the book of Revelation.
This is Tallahassee Sports Authority, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sometimes diabetes can feel more like don't-abetes. Don't do this, don't forget that. But with a little help from Walgreens, diabetes won't slow you down. Stop by for expert pharmacy care in-store or online via pharmacy chat. Pick up the medications you rely on and get savings on testing supplies from all major brands like OneTouch and Walgreens TrueMetrics. Walgreens has just what you need to do more with diabetes. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Writing job descriptions, sifting through resumes, setting up interviews. Hiring's hard, but Indeed.com makes it easier. Post your job, manage candidates, schedule interviews, all on Indeed. And since independent research shows that Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, easy works. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
So, the Violent Femmes are a very underrated 80s band.
I don't disagree. In fact, they're one of the first bands I ever saw in concert. I got a question for you since you're bringing up music. Yay or nay on Skid Row? Sebastian Bach.
Oh, that's Skid Row.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Attention Rockheads, ESPN Tallahassee wants to hook you up for Welcome to Rockville, April 29th and 30th in Jacksonville. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com right now for the Welcome to Rockville ticket giveaway. Click on the front page banner to fill out our registration form. And every Friday, we'll be unloading 2 weekend passes for a lucky winner and a friend. A $200 savings from us to you. Winners will be announced every Friday afternoon in a 5 o'clock hour. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com and sign up today.
Ready to wind down after a long day? McGowan's Hops and Grapes, your neighborhood bar with an upscale and creative menu designed for the customer to sit, share, and relax. They have 43 craft beer taps with growlers to go, 32 and 64 ounces. Weekly wine specials to choose from with over 75 wines, and more than 35 are served by the glass. A menu designed to share with friends, shareables, unique flatbreads, and sandwiches, not your typical bar food. The To-Go app is coming next month. McGowan's Hops and Grapes, located at Bannerman 3 Crossing. Online at beerwinefun.com or call them 999-8505.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir.
Join us for 8 days of nonstop tennis as the rising stars of the USTA Pro Circuit battle for a main draw wildcard into the French Open. It's the 18th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 22nd through the 29th at the Forest Meadows Tennis Complex. Proceeds benefit the Wagner Neurointensive Care Unit at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, Tallahassee Democrat, the City of Tallahassee, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, 850 Business Magazine, and Comcast.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I don't know if it's an age thing or what it is, but I think eye itching and the fact that I am on the cusp of sneezing at the start of each segment is a sign that something's in the air.
Every segment, huh?
Well, the last two. I mean, I'm right there right now. You may have to whistle.
I really can't on command, but if you need to go, I can tell people a story.
I don't need to go. I do want to answer. I didn't answer the second part of the email, and that's unfair. So I should get to it, which is that the Martin stuff. I am friends with Mike Martin Jr. I know Coach Martin well. I'm closer by far to Mike Martin Jr. without question. So I wouldn't deny that, but I will tell you this. Long before I became good friends with Mike Martin Jr., he listened to the show, family listened to the show, and when we started to get to know each other and we have some mutual friends and so forth, I remember one day him saying, if you ever get to a place where if we're playing poorly, you don't say it, or if you see something that you think you should be critical of, you don't say it. I think his quote was, I'm going to kick your ass. Because they hold themselves to very high standards too, and so I know this can only go so far. But in truth, I feel like if I felt that there was something egregious going on over there, or something that warranted 11 being fired, I would say it. I'd say it. Now, a lot of you roll your eyes. I would say it. You know, we're not in that position. I get that people, man, might very well want a fresh set of eyes over there. They'll admit to the successes, and they'll say that's great, and it's a shame the man never won a national title, and yeah, sure, as long as he's here, we'll be good, but we're never going to win it. I just don't feel like we can win it now. And we would quibble. that person who thinks that way, and we would argue. But I get the sentiment. I think anytime a coach has been around a real long time, that there is this yearning in some cases for change, for something different, for something new. And I don't disagree with that. You know, in Europe, if you like Premier League and places like that, guys can win Premier League championships and it just happened, and can be fired within a year or two of having done so. They have different traditions and different ways of viewing franchises, sports, figures that coach those teams. It's very different. I've told the story on the air about how I was at a cocktail hour at Florida State University one time for an event, and in the psychology department, and I met a guy who was Australian, and he was here studying, and he said, "Man, I read that your head football coach has been here," and at that time it was 20-something years or whatever it was, and I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "That would never happen where I'm from. There's just no way." I was like, well, what if he won a lot? What if he just won all the time? They're like, no, it's ridiculous to have somebody coaching a team for 20, 25 years. You got to bring somebody new in. It just demands it at some point. I'm like, well, no, you got to be careful what you wish for. He's like, oh, true. Maybe it's just a different philosophy. And I think it is. But there are places where they say, yeah. And Steve Spurrier, who ended up kind of crossing the line that he set, once said that he didn't think that a coach needed to be anywhere for more than 10 years. At some point, it gets stale. At some point, people begin to no longer appreciate you if you've been successful. And maybe you begin to actually overlook things because you take certain things for granted if you've been successful over a long period of time. I get that.
I think that's a general sentiment that applies to the two non-football sports currently. I think that's fair. You know,
yeah, it's been a long
Leonard's
time.
been here forever and a day.
Yeah, he's been here a long time, 15, 16 years.
Yes,
yeah.
He was the head basketball coach when I was a freshman in college here. That's a long time ago
I was
now.
on the air, Tom, the day he was hired. I remember doing an interview with him. That's how.
Well, what baseball? Is it us and Stanford? There's a College World Series game where on the bottom line, if you find it on YouTube, it says that Leonard is, I think we hired him.
Oh, so you're going back to,
it's on the old bottom line.
That was a good game, by the way, the FSU Stanford game.
I think that's when it was. But, yeah, it's just been forever and a minute, and I think that for those people who want him gone that badly, there's nothing he can do. So it's almost like you just have to let those people do what they're going to do, because no matter what happens, short of a national title,
well,
and I think
short of a national title,
we all agree, everybody in the argument agrees that that's not in the cards. That if that happens, that is crazy. That's crazy person talk.
You talking about for basketball?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Though he's not going to win a national title.
But short of that, so they're gonna be in that camp forever until it's over.
Yeah, and I think if we're going to just remain in reality here and be pragmatic, let's shift over to baseball for a second before we go to break. We'll see what this season turns out to be. I'm not one of these people that gets mad about something that happened in 99 when it's 2017 or something that happened in 2010 when it's 2017. I get that they all add up, perceived mistakes, whatever it might be, shortcomings. But in a given year, if you're gonna clamor to fire somebody, I need to see evidence that person is struggling to get the most out of players, to win with the material he has. That's why when people say, well, you were really, really critical of Bowden. Well, yes. He had all the resources in the world and is not a victim of his own success, and we were losing 5 and 6 games with better players. It was time. If this program and the football mentality is what's applied sometimes to basketball and baseball, and that's much to my chagrin, and I bring it up all the time, if they didn't make it to the Super Regional every year, if they weren't getting to a place where they were competitive in the ACC and were going to the postseason and having successes in the postseason, then I'd say, yeah, well, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I mean, it was a season a couple years ago with Miami, with Florida had one where they didn't make the tournament. You don't make the tournament, peace, got to go. There's no reason you wouldn't make the tournament, meaning in baseball at Florida State. None. A rash of injuries, I suppose. But short of that, no. Come on, what are we doing? But that doesn't happen here. They do win. They win a lot. They're annually top 20. They're not going to fire a guy that is this close to being the all-time winningest coach in college baseball history.
That's part of it, too.
They're just not going to do it.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
For you, so there's no reason to shop anyplace else. Stop by Artistic Awards and Engraving today at 2001 North Monroe Street across from Hooters, or visit them on the web at artisticawardsanengraving.com.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday, along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street, online at hooters.com, or call them at 385-2004.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay with Miller's Tree Service. When you need work done in your yard, you want a professional, someone you can trust to provide high-quality service and get the job done right. We've got 3 certified arborists and 6 work crews that can meet all your tree care needs. Hire the professionals at Miller's Tree Service, where we'll go out on a limb for you.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
You, the woman in the SUV pulling into the yoga studio. You got a truck for a reason, remember? So get some Firestone tires and go do truck stuff. Why just explore your inner self when the Firestone Destination LE2 is built for 60,000 miles of truck stuff? So get out as far as you can. Drive down to the Amazon, tool around the muck. Bring back a previously undiscovered type of mud mask. Find your truck tires at FirestoneTire.com. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
At Mattress Firm, we admit we have lots of sales, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity so big, even we're impressed. Save up to 70% off famous name brands. Plus, take up to $2,000 off floor models from Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, and others. Everything must go to make room for the next generation of sleep products. So don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sleep and save like never before. Only at Mattress Firm. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offer and prices may vary in Hawaii.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Brickley. The magical run for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic continuing after what they did against Japan in the semis.
Japan down to their final strike. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. Strike 3. He got him. And the United States will play for a World Baseball Classic championship tomorrow night. They beat Japan 2-1.
Dave Fleming on ESPN Radio. As Team USA advancing to their first ever final in the WBC, set to take on Puerto Rico Wednesday here on ESPN Radio and on ESPN Deport Days. Jerry Krause, known as the architect of the Bulls teams that won 6 championships in the 90s, died at the age of 77. NFL news: Panthers quarterback Cam Newton set to undergo surgery next week to repair a partially torn rotator cuff. And in the NHL, Penguins clinching their 11th straight postseason berth after the 3-1 win over the
Wednesday
Sabres.
with Greeny and Golick. Does the NBA have a real problem with marquee players resting? We'll talk with Tim Legler, plus Mel Kiper Jr. on his latest mock draft. It's Mike and Mike, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it, whether that be on the radio live or via the stream on the computer or YouTube. We appreciate you. Hope you're having a good Balls McWednesday. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. You can always email the show, jcs@979espnradio.com. WTSM app. Use it for Android. Use it for iPhone. Just use it. And when you go back and get caught up on the show, you'll note that you do so with limited commercial interruption. We got a great sponsor, Southland Commercial, teaching you ways to make money through commercial real estate and income-producing properties. Go to carltondean.com. So I read a story, and I thought of you right away, Tom, because you and I have had this conversation a lot. Oh, it was about friendship. You and I have had this conversation a lot. And it has a lot to do with the ever-changing landscape of how people consume sports, entertainment in general. Also, the shift away from massive build-ons to these stadiums to smaller, more intimate experiences, and ways to create the amenities that people have at home, the home viewing experience, at the stadium. Now, I still maintain that for a big game, there's nothing like being at a big game and the atmosphere that comes with it. I still maintain there's nothing better than being amongst, hey, listen, being at a night game at Doak Campbell Stadium, Florida State, Oklahoma, or some big affair like that. Obviously, Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Florida.
Yeah, the Florida State game this year, that was a big one.
It's a lot of fun when you're able to experience that with your brethren and like-minded folk sharing in the experience, even when it's in defeat like the game was this year against Clemson, where you have an exciting second half. That there's nothing quite like that. You were at the Texas Notre Dame game, which, as it turned out, to be the best moment for either team all year long, because both teams ended up sucking. But that atmosphere was electric and fun. It was incredible.
That game was nuts.
And I'll never trade in having been at the Rose Bowl with you to watch us play and win the national championship against Auburn. And even the next year when we get boat raced by Oregon, I suppose it was a lot of fun to be down on that field. I remember watching warm-ups. I stood on the sideline watching it was a beautiful day after we had some pretty bad weather prior to that. There's nothing like being there.
Oh, it's got to be just like going to Augusta for the Masters, because how beautifully manicured was the field that day. It was even better than it was for the actual BCS title game the year prior. It was a damp night, so the field was a little bit slick. But I just remember looking how cleanly everything was
perfect.
It was just presented beautifully. It was a brilliant-looking field.
So I say all that to say this.
That we got trounced on.
Yeah, got to hold on to the ball. But I say all that to say this, and that is that the other games, the games that aren't so magical, that aren't special, aren't burned indelibly into your memory to share with your prodigy, those by the way, let's say Charleston Southern.
Or like a noon kick against Syracuse with your backup quarterback starting, that kind of thing?
Those kinds of games.
Yeah.
People have chosen more and more, as we see by the numbers, to maybe stay home. Maybe not make the trek, especially from out of town to in town to Tallahassee, to our hometown now that we call home, I should say. And you kind of understand it because, look, man, parking, the expenses of a hotel, it's hotter than Hades, sitting next to a stranger. You got to do you get up the next morning, try to trek back.
4 kinds of alcohol in the stranger's breath.
So all these kinds of things.
Short shorts.
When you could be sitting, I don't know, by your pool, grilling with friends and a cooler, access to a bathroom, and an 80-inch television, which more and more people can afford, and even people of medium incomes, let's say, can afford quite easily. You get why the viewing experience has changed and the in-home experience has grabbed a foothold, and networks are having to scramble, ESPN and others having to scramble because of cord cutters, etc. And the draw of the stadium is because less and less. Well, when I read this story, I thought, man, it's going to be fascinating. What are we going to do? I was reminded of a quote, and I'll read the quote in a second. But first, the story. NCAA March Madness live virtual reality app to offer enhanced virtual reality experience for 2017 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship, NCAA Final Four, National Semifinals, and National Championship, along with Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games from San Jose, available through VR Premium Ticket, as it's called. Intel announced as the newest corporate partner powering NCAA March Madness live VR courtside experience.
And now for the West Bracket, presented by our corporate champion, Intel.
Corporate champion will cause you to kind of shiver, right? NCAA March Madness Live, managed by Turner Sports, in partnership with CBS Sports and the NCAA, will offer enhanced virtual reality coverage of the 2017 Division I Men's Basketball Championship, including multiple ways for fans to enjoy an immersive viewing experience, beginning with the Sweet 16. The NCAA March Madness Live VR app with Intel True VR is sponsored by Intel, an NCAA corporate partner. Viewers a virtual courtside, it's an offer of a viewer's courtside seat for fans to experience NCAA tournament games through a VR premium ticket.
Presented by Intel.
The NCAA March Madness Live VR app is available for download now through the Oculus Store for compatible mobile phones.
Thanks to our friends at Intel.
Virtual reality coverage, powered by Intel, Tom, will be available for Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games, the first time either rounds have been available in VR, originating from the West region in San Jose, along with the NCAA Final Four National Semifinals and National Championship from Phoenix. Fans will be able to choose from 2 VR premium ticket options, Tom.
Presented by Intel.
Gold for $2.99 per game, or $7.99 for all 6 games. How about that? Get a little break. Fans will be available to feel like they're there, courtside, with their favorite team, via fully produced VR coverage incorporating multiple courtside cameras, sounds from inside the arena, and dedicated game commentary featuring Spiro Deeds, whoever the hell that is.
Spiro Deeds.
With analyst Steve Smith and reporter Lisa Byington. I don't know these other people. Titus, Smith, and Byington will call the game specifically from the perspective of fans watching the live coverage in VR.
And they will do so thanks to our friends, our corporate champions at Intel.
Or the silver package for $1.99 per game. Fans can experience VR through a single courtside camera, not multiple. Bums.
This would be the Acer package.
With the same commentary featured on the CBS broadcast with Jim Nantz, Grant Hill, and Bill Raftery, along with reporter Tracy Wolfson. Got to tell you there, Roger, I'm going with the silver package. I don't need Datis, Byington, and Smith when I can have Nantz, Hill, and Raftery. The NCAA March Madness Live VR app also provides access to the full tournament bracket with enhanced video highlights from each game, virtual stats, not real ones, scoreboards, and shot charts.
Is that like the final is the way you want it to be?
Sure.
Is that the virtual stat?
I don't like the way this game's going. In fact, let's switch this to a Florida State victory. Way to go, Ham! The NCAA March Madness Live will also offer 360-degree highlights from the games produced with Intel True VR on the NCAA March Madness Facebook page.
And the True VR is brought to you by our friends at Intel.
This year marks the 7th year of partnership between CBS Sports and Turner Sports, now with their new friends,
Intel.
So the quote that I was thinking about, Tom, is it's from a Father John Misty lyric. in which he says, when the historians find us, we'll be in our homes, plugged into our hubs, skin and bones, a frozen smile on every face as the stories replay. This must have been a wonderful place. So, yeah, where are we going? Are people going to go to games? Better yet, are they ever going to leave their house, have real sex? Or are we just moving down the road to VR everything? I added the real sex to get your attention. Sorry. But who are we kidding?
I'm sure it worked.
I'm saying, who are we kidding? If we're going to start using virtual reality to be courtside at a basketball game, the very next step is somebody going, well, the hell with basketball. Can I get my virtual reality package?
Demolition Man was the movie where they weren't actually
having it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we're closer to that reality.
Yeah, and I would say this.
And all jokes aside,
if you could give me an option where I don't actually have the call, then it really feels like I'm at the game. You want to talk about an immersive
I thought
experience?
you were about to talk about some other form of not actually having
No,
to talk to the
No. Jeez.
If I don't actually have to speak to the woman.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't have to take her to dinner.
Right.
This VR thing.
Boy, it's cost effective. No, but if you can, Spiro Ditas or Jim Nance, you can tell them to go to hell, then it feels like you're actually in the arena. You
And
just
for
hear the
whatever
sounds of the
reason,
game.
I'm actually telling Spiro Ditas to go to hell indeed. I don't know why.
He's one of the CBS NFL announcers.
I'm sure he's wonderful.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
great man.
The thing
bought and paid for by Intel.
Cares deeply. So that's kind of remarkable that they're going to have the cameras set up as if you do have, indeed, a courtside seat. And it's filmed in such a way that a regular person sitting would be following the action. So point guard is dribbling the ball up the floor. I'm courtside watching, but I'm not really because it's virtual reality. But somebody really is sitting there with a camera so as to feed me my $1.99 silver package. And I watch.
Hey, now.
And I watch said point guard take the ball up the
Must
floor,
be in Reno.
make the initial pass, and the camera follows the ball. And then, of course, the sights and the sounds feel very real. And, of course, you're right. If you remove the announcers, and what I hear is the sound of the shoes on the court shuffling, the ball bouncing, the echo of the arena, the sounds, the rise of the fans as a big moment occurs, or the dread as somebody misses a big shot. Yeah, I'm not saying people aren't going to go to games, but again, more reasons for people not to go to games and for relatively cheap. I mean, again, the VR premium ticket options, Tom,
powered by Intel,
are just $2.99 per game. Okay. What game were we at? Which bowl game were we at? Or was it the ACC Championship?
title game 2010. I know exactly where you're going.
Okay, so we watched the introduction of 3D television,
Yeah.
which failed miserably. But nonetheless.
Yeah, it was X Games half-pipe video you put on the glasses so you see the skateboarder come right
and then
at
also
you.
Ohio State playing in a bowl game.
Yeah.
But it was an also-ran bowl,
Oh.
whatever it was. But you could see the play, and I remember thinking, well, this has possibility. I was wrong, as were they. It failed. But we're going down that road, and I don't know. I've not used one of the VR things yet. I've seen one in stores. It does look interesting to me. I think from a video game standpoint, it's got to be probably a lot of fun.
You need a clear area around you, man, if you're doing that immersive experience.
yeah.
Can you swing your arms wildly or anything like that?
But I do imagine that could be real fun, a lot of fun. And they've been trying to capture that for a long, long time. There have been games that have attempted to do that forever. I think we're real close to actually mastering it, though. That's going to be pretty interesting.
That's the whole idea of a first-person shooter game.
Sure.
You play Halo. That the whole point is that you put yourself inside the helmet.
But remember this. We actually watched how it affects physically players on the field of play. Stanford introduced the VR system for their quarterbacks, in which you can line up and look at different looks on defense and actually have to execute the throws and the play. It's remarkable. And that's really, not only is it real, that's something that is getting advanced on a yearly basis, where you can play a game, where you can simulate a game.
Well, what I'm saying, too, is, okay, look down the line. If this thing succeeds, which it seems like it's really going to. The 3D never seemed to make much sense, or the curved TV, that kind of stuff. But if you can put an HD screen, that's if you have the internet connection to handle it and all that stuff, because I'm sure data is,
and you can
is a concern.
see all around the arena.
Yeah. And,
so if you just look left, you see up in the rafters exactly what somebody would see if they were sitting there looking left.
Or you want to go to PNC Park. on a given Thursday.
On a nightly basis.
And you want to watch Garrett Cole versus, Clayton Kershaw.
Sure.
And you say to yourself,
quite the matchup.
All right, let's watch this game. And they give you 4 options. They say, okay.
First baseline, third baseline,
right, because
bleachers, or behind home plate.
Right, because some people assign a certain amount of nostalgia to a certain type of seat. We had season tickets with my family up the third baseline for so many years, so let's watch on the third baseline. Yeah, can't you see where that can go? I mean,
it could be you not going to damn games.
Yes.
Is what it could be. If they get the sights, the sounds, you can't recreate the smells, and those matter too. And you can't recreate an energy that you actually feel when, I don't know, for our listeners, if you've ever been to New York City, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you could VR that all you want from your living room. It is not the same as actually going over the bridge and going to Manhattan and getting out of the taxi and kind of just looking all around you at the sea of humanity and a surfeit of options for food and all of that and saying to yourself, it's almost exhausting. 3 days there is almost exhausting because of all those energies. But outside of that,
well, we've all been to, most people who are going to be doing this have been to a game where there's a charged atmosphere, so your mind can do the rest. As long as, again, because I think the number one sticking point to me, if I'm in development of this, is you drop the announcers. Sorry, I know that those are our brethren in broadcasting.
Right.
But you want to hear the sights and the sounds of the
ballpark. If I want to hear the announcers, I'll hear them in my living room when I'm not at the game. But if I'm trying to recreate the in-game experience, I don't need to hear the TV guys.
Or you have an option the way the MLB TV app does for, PS4, Xbox, whatever, and you can just turn on the sounds of the park.
But you can see, too, Tom, and where we're getting at here is not just what lies in the immediate future. If you just advance this 10 years from where we are right now, and I know this is going to be a new reality, that you're going to be able to buy the MLB.com or the MLB app, and that the VR package is going to be part of it. And for $400 at the beginning of the year, you get all 81 home games, and you can pick your seat. And you're going to, if that's your cup of tea, you can sit there on a nightly basis and watch your team play, and you'll get what a guy sitting on the third baseline gets. You'll get that view. You'll have that feel. That's going to happen. I don't think it's crazy to say that's going to happen. Sounds like it's already happening with March Madness to some extent, but how quickly, and it's amazing how it happens.
Well, there's a sport, it's going to be baseball, because they've been at the forefront of all of this stuff for 10, 15 years now.
But don't you, with the NFL's money, how quickly they can refine the rough edges.
It solves the problem of the gate, because that's a problem that's arising. This is meeting that challenge right away.
It'd be awfully odd, though, to think that we arrive at a place where more people would choose to not go to a football game than to go, and meaning if they had the option and the option was inexpensive.
But if you're like a Bills fan, except for the tailgates, because those people love those tailgates up in Buffalo. But if it's the dead of December,
I would never go. No, unless I lived in Buffalo and was a sadist, I really would never go to a Buffalo game in the dead of December. What the hell? It's ridiculous. And they're not any good ever. But I'm saying that's just a cheap shot. But they could not be any good when I'm sitting in my house in comfort with my VR glasses on.
Look at that. I'm already home.
That's right. I'm not sitting in -7 watching us lose by 3 touchdowns. Again, this is awesome. Yay, virtual reality. I don't know. It's harder and harder to see a day where 80,000 seat stadiums are a thing or even normal. As real estate gets more and more crowded and everything else, why would you do that?
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
membership, you can join Killearn Country Club, and there's no upfront money due at contract signing. There is no better way to experience the many benefits of Killearn Country Club membership. You and your family will enjoy full access to the beautiful championship golf course, driving range, tennis facilities, fitness centers, swimming pool, dining room, clubhouse facilities, and social events. This is a limited offer, so call Lori Wilkie today at 893-2186, extension 145, to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Again, Lori Wilkie at 893-2186, extension 145.
97.9 ESPN Radio would like to congratulate North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz, the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month. Jonathan is a first and third baseman on the Eagles baseball team and is hitting over .475 with 10 hits, a home run, 5 RBI, and 8 runs scored early in the season. Jonathan has a cumulative GPA of 4.137 and is a member of the North Florida Christian Student Government. As the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz is now qualified as a finalist for the Dale Jr. $2,500 End of the Year Scholarship. Check out all of the Athlete of the Month nominees by visiting our website, espntallahassee.com. And to help support the fine folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee or online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac.com.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Hunt! Just like the Knowles on game day, TNT Supercenter, the largest Mahindra dealership for North Florida, plows through the competition. 0% financing for up to 84 months and rebates ranging from $1,000 to $6,000 depending on model.
This is outrageous!
Up to a 7-year warranty for select models. TNT has Impact XTVs in stock starting at only $99.99. They also carry a full line of Mahindra implements. TNT Supercenter, located at 14585 U.S. Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Sometimes diabetes can feel more like don't-a-betes. Don't do this, don't forget that. But with a little help from Walgreens, diabetes won't slow you down. Stop by for expert pharmacy care in-store or online via pharmacy chat. Pick up the medications you rely on and get savings on testing supplies from all major brands like OneTouch and Walgreens TrueMetrics. Walgreens has just what you need to do more with diabetes. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Writing job descriptions, sifting through resumes, setting up interviews. Hiring's hard, but Indeed.com makes it easier. Post your job, manage candidates, schedule interviews, all on Indeed. And since independent research shows that Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, easy works. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
It's the Hyundai Spring Cleaning Sales Event. The best way to buy is the Werner way. We monitor our competition's website, TV, and radio ads to make sure you get the best price. We shop North Florida and South Georgia so you don't have to. Drive a great-looking 2017 Hyundai Elantra for $169 per month for 36 months with $19.99 due at lease signing. You get Hyundai Assurance with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Why shop anywhere else? WernerHyundai.com. Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 5th.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So the Chicago Bulls and Toronto Raptors played a game of basketball last night that you didn't watch. And that's okay. In the third quarter, things got a little heated. The Bulls were up big at the time, 88-72. That doesn't matter either. But I've said on this show for a very long time, basically since I started doing the show, that no matter how good, great even, NBA athletes are, and at times I'm almost certain they're the greatest athletes amongst us. Robin Lopez, Serge Ibaka are the participants in last night's game I'm about to talk about, but it could be any two NBA players. I don't understand how athletes of that exceptional caliber could be so poor at swinging their fists and hitting something inches from their face. But none of them can. I've been watching NBA fights all my life, nothing but swinging and missing. Whole lot of flailing, sorry-ass, never thrown a punch in your life looking dudes. Every time there's a fight, that's what I come away thinking. The safest place on the court between two guys in a fight in an NBA game is directly in front of their face because there's no chance you're going to get punched. None. And last night, Lopez and Ibaka got mad, and they started throwing punches at one another, and nobody got hit because for whatever reason, the best athletes in the world in the NBA can't throw punches all that well and certainly have no accuracy to speak of when throwing said punches. However, Hubie Brown did us a favor and made me smile. This is the clip from Hubie sounding very excited about the prospects of a real fight breaking out in the midst of their broadcast.
Back out to Butler, doesn't hesitate, and a good decision by Jimmy Butler, who has 24.
Watch
We got
out.
a fight.
Watch out.
Lopez and Ibaka throwing punches.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I want you to listen to that again. Hubie, who's 115 years old, still kicks ass on broadcast and is a great analyst, is a little too excited about this fight. Listen to Hubie again. He's the one saying, oh, yeah.
Back out to Butler, doesn't hesitate, and a good decision by Jimmy Butler, who has 24.
Watch
We got
out.
a fight.
Watch out.
Lopez and Ibaka throwing punches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to make the analogy, but my man is pleased. What a
Punches.
week here.
Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tom,
yeah.
we're having-
Let me tell you. Oh, yeah.
Now you're just having fun. But fair enough. I mean, he is pumped about the prospect of this fight, right?
Punches.
Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah.
Why can't they hit one another? I don't understand. They're inches, man. Is it the long arms
That's
thing?
maybe because
It's gotta be
they're
the
so
long
big
arms.
and they're too close. It's the Bismarck.
So many times I think, all right, two very angry men about the throwdown. We're going to get some good punches in. Nothing. Ever. It's the way people feel about probably the benches clearing in baseball. There's a whole lot of, oh, here we go, and then nobody gets punched, except for when they finally do. It's usually pretty raucous, pretty crazy. Dudes are getting stomped with spikes and everything else.
Can't kill me with cannon fire if I'm standing right next to the cannon.
But if you're standing directly in front of the cannonball is going to go through you and you're dead. I don't understand how.
Well, maybe I'm standing in front of it and it's pointed to the sky. You know, it just goes right over my head. I might get a little whoosh.
They can never connect. Go find it. Any of you, just go online. You'll type in Serge Ibaka, Robin Lopez, and watch these two flailers attempt to harm one another. It's pitiful. Nothing.
As opposed to Trent Williams.
Which he didn't miss.
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm punching your. Hey, do it then, boy.
You know that never gets old. It never gets old hearing a non-idle threat.
Well, and he's the size of a small forward in the NBA because that's an NFL left
Except
tackle.
He's 338
I'm just talking about
pounds.
height-wise.
Yeah,
so he's got the
big,
arms, he's got the reach of somebody who would be playing down in the blocks every once in a while.
And obviously the punch of a man who grew up punching people.
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm punching your. Hey, do it then, boy.
Whoa. Still my favorite is the white guy. Hey. He is very concerned.
I am on my way to Russell Wilson's prayer circle, sir.
Pray. This is what's going on here, guys.
Russell Wilson is praying somewhere.
Whoa.
May I proceed in peace?
Might I talk to you about Jesus? This is
Hey,
not.
what you gonna do, boy? I'm gonna punch you in your. Ain't do a thing, boy.
The fact that he gets bitch ass in there is really probably my favorite too. That is also.
That's right. Yeah.
That he gets that in there. That too is solid as a rock.
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm gonna punch you in your. Ain't do a thing, boy.
Now, see, if he were on the court and Serge Ibaka, Robin Lopez, or anybody else for that matter, had a tussle, a moment by which punches were surely going to be thrown, we would get delivered the kind of entertainment we're hoping for, which is somebody would get hit in the face hard. And I don't imagine, and this is another thing, that no matter how you feel about Richard Sherman, you got to give him an awful lot of credit in that video because he does wear it straight to the chin and doesn't go down. He's
straight out of Compton and straight to the chin.
He's wobbled a little bit for a half a second, but then he starts laughing. Like he realizes,
there's a little fear in that laugh.
Oh, there's a lot of fear in that laugh.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good thing people came to break it up. He
actually did it.
He's like, oh, this guy.
Oh my God,
this dude's for real. This dude's for real.
My favorite part is
he's not a talker.
Is he emerges? Trent Williams emerges
out of nowhere,
and he's standing there, and he's kind of hulking up as he's waiting for Richard Sherman to engage him.
He's got the tinted,
but he just arrives in the frame, standing there, menacing, waiting for an engagement in some sort of conversation.
He's enraged.
That will end most certainly with a punch in your face.
Apparently, if you go find the footage of how we got to that place, the NFL Films footage of that actual game, Tom, is one in which Sherman is talking a lot of smack throughout the game. And there's a moment where those two exchange words. And Trent says, something along the lines of, come see about me. Like, we'll have a discussion about this. You can say whatever you want in the flow of a game, but there's going to be a day of reckoning. And so then he's a man of his word. Because that happens. All right.
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm gonna punch you in your. Ain't do a thing, boy.
Something special about a man telling you he's going to punch you in the face and then immediately punching you right in the face
with quick hands.
Very quick hands and accurate. You don't have to do it again, but if you want to.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
And the United States will play for a World Baseball Classic championship tomorrow night. They beat Japan 2-1.
Dave Fleming on ESPN Radio as Team USA advancing to their first ever final in the WBC, set to take on Puerto Rico Wednesday here on ESPN Radio and on ESPN Deport Days. Jerry Krause, known as the architect of the Bulls teams that won 6 championships in the 90s, died at the age of 77. NFL news, Panthers quarterback Cam Newton set to undergo surgery next week to repair a partially torn rotator cuff. And in the NHL, Penguins clinching their 11th straight postseason berth after the 3-1 win over the
Wednesday
Sabres.
With Greeny and Golick, does the NBA have a real problem with marquee players resting? We'll talk with Tim Legler, plus Mel Kiper Jr. on his latest mock draft. It's Mike and Mike, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
The madness is coming to the corner pocket.
They're in trouble. Desperation. Yes!
Choose the place with Tallahassee's best TVs. The Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall. Made for March Madness. 8 50-inch crystal clear flat screens. You won't miss a second of the action. Corner Pocket's your headquarters for the most watched sporting event in America.
For the win! Good! Oh, a miracle!
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets, come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, my goodness! Hobie Demo Day is coming. Saturday, March 25th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Join the professional staff from Wilderness Way at the Wakulla River at TNT Hideaway. Test paddle the 2017 Pro Angler, Revolution, Outback Oasis, Sport Outfitter, and Quest. Discover the new Hobie Mirage Drive 180 forward reverse propulsion system, one that will be integrated into all 2017 model year Mirage kayaks. Plus, the Mirage Eclipse pedal board, the world's first stand-up pedal board. Take fitness out of the gym and onto the water under the sun. Call the Wilderness Way at 877-7200 for more information or directions.
Watch your team cut down the nets live at Hobbit American Grill, voted Best Wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens, $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m. 7 days a week. Locally owned and operated since 1978, Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Cheer on the Knolls with plenty of March Madness specials. Hobbit American Grill, 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hi, I'm Pastor Richard Ledford. I want to invite you to join us at Restoration Place, Tallahassee this Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. We're located just north of Fred George on Monroe at 3881 Monroe Street. For more information, check us out at myrpt.org. That's Restoration Place, 9:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. See you there Sunday morning.
The deals are heating up at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Purchase a DeWalt 5 amp hour brushless kit impact hammer drill and receive $100 off instantly. Check out their add-on special, a Bear reciprocating saw. Spring is in the air. Add on DeWalt 20 volt kit with hedge trimmer, brushless string trimmer, or brushless blower. Your choice, $129.95. So many DeWalt buy one get one add-on specials at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays 8 a.m. to noon.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it hardly seems possible, but March is here. And that means another fiscal year-end for Nissan Corporate. And Kraft Nissan is within striking distance of a huge year-end bonus. And I believe in sharing that year-end bonus with you, because half of something is better than all of nothing. And I'm betting that Tallahassee will realize a truly great deal when they hear it. My goal is simple. I want to make Tallahassee a Nissan town. And Kraft Nissan wants to set an all-time record for March, and we will sell 200 new Nissans. And to get Kraft Nissan started, 3 of our best-selling cars in Tallahassee get even better. All 2017 Sentras, Rogues, and Altimas have 0% interest for 72 months, no payments until June, and you get up to $2,500 cash back to you. Plus, Kraft Nissan's new kid on the block, the 2017 Titan XD with Platinum Package, is a real $10,000 off MSRP. It's Kraft Nissan's fiscal year-end with Nissan Corporate. Our discounts and prices cannot be beat because we share our year-end bonus with you. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Must finance through NMAC with approved credit.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir.
Join us for 8 days of nonstop tennis as the rising stars of the USTA Pro Circuit battle for a main draw wildcard into the French Open. It's the 18th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 22nd through the 29th at the Forest Meadows Tennis Complex. Proceeds benefit the Wagner Neurointensive Care Unit at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, Tallahassee Democrat, the City of Tallahassee, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, 850 Business Magazine, and Comcast.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I suspect you will be watching tonight, Tom Wang. Doubter as you once were, the world is coming over to my side with the World Baseball Classic. First time we've reached the finals after beating Japan 2-1 last night. Good for Adam Jones. Go ahead RBI. He now has 2 home runs, 5 RBIs in 7 games. 5 RBIs tied for the team lead with Hosmer. And Tanner Roark, who hadn't been any good, was last night. And now it's USA-Puerto Rico tonight, 9 o'clock. Marcus Stroman projected to start for the USA. He got the loss in the first USA-Puerto Rico matchup, allowing 4 first-inning runs and looking terrible. Let's hope that doesn't happen, because previous to that, he was very good.
Apparently, there's extra baggage for that particular matchup for Stroman because he was choosing between Puerto Rico and the United States.
And he and his family took backlash because he chose to pitch for the United States.
So with all that said, if I'm Jim Leland, I have somebody ready to go.
Short bench?
Oh,
short bullpen? Yeah, I mean, it's real quick.
It's a quick hook, and even if I have to have somebody working in the bullpen underneath Dodger Stadium, so as not to affect Mr. Stroman's confidence, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Seth Lugo will go tonight for Puerto Rico. We ought to be able to hit Seth Lugo.
I don't know.
He's been good. He's 2-0 with a 2.45, 11 innings pitched in the WBC. He's been great.
He's one of those Mets starters that just you can't find a spot in the rotation for him.
Well, he did allow 3 runs in 5 2/3 the last time against him.
He's not a fireballer. He's got a killer curveball. Killer.
So this isn't about who we're picking to win in a one-game, one-off in baseball because, again, so many of these factors you can't predict. We'll see if Stroman's got his stuff or if Lugo's got his stuff. If one or the other doesn't, that's probably your game. But the WBC is emerging as the winner here. And I think a couple of things have happened. I think the people that have tuned in have seen that it's enjoyable baseball, that it is highly competitive, that the rest of the world fields really good teams. In fact, the United States has never won this event, partly because in the past we didn't necessarily care to win this event. A lot of our best players didn't play in it, and the pitching aspect of it is a little funky given that these guys play for real major league teams, and they are in the midst of their real spring training and preparing for a lengthy season. And the idea of committing yourself to highly competitive games with a lot on the line, high-stress situations, didn't appeal to a lot of teams, but they've begun to do a better system in which they rotate these guys, and more players are volunteering and saying, hey, I can make a start. I can go, 5 innings, 4 innings. I can throw 80 pitches like I would deep in spring training. So, okay, I'll do that. And as far as adrenaline goes, I mean, there's no science that necessarily suggests that you're more at risk to injure yourself if you care more about the game than if you're just pitching in the 5th or 9th or 15th spring training game. So they're choosing to do it. Moreover, the actual position players, this is a loaded roster. They care. I mean, when you're looking around and you're seeing, obviously, Andrew McCutchen. But I mentioned Buster Posey earlier, Giancarlo Stanton. There's superstars everywhere is the point. Nolan Arenado. And others are saying that who hasn't done anything in this WBC.
Oh, he's been awful. He's out in front, as John Smoltz rightly points out.
He's been awful. But anyhow.
Maybe he should have stared working in February,
to gear up.
Early February.
Perhaps he put a lot of pressure on himself because he, too, could have chosen to play for another country. But, whatever the reason, the games have been dramatic. They've been fun. Even going back to the USA loss to the Dominican Republic late on the Andrew Miller hanger, coming back, avenging that loss, eliminating the defending champions, getting to the championship round now. We'll see what happens tonight against Puerto Rico, eliminating Japan, who's won this thing twice, and what was a fun game to watch. I don't know. I think it has a chance to continue to gain momentum. I hope that it does. I think it's good for baseball. I like seeing the game on a world stage because it is a world event.
For those who have watched it, they've been entertained. It's just a question of who has watched it, And for me, the personal circumstance is the basketball team is done. Crushing loss on Saturday. My hockey team is completely tanked, and this is a point of the year where I usually am watching hockey very intently.
5-3 last night. It was great to see us defend so well.
And so I need something to watch. And I found something great to watch because, I'll go back and look at what happened in spring training for the day. So, I'm not going to watch every Mets spring training game. Hell, I don't watch 5 full spring training games. But I get the reports and see how guys are doing, if they're hitting their marks for velocity or, if they're working on certain storylines.
Shoulder issues.
Oh, yeah, they have shoulder issues. They're working on their secondary pitches. I check those storylines. Or if somebody's working on, a new batting stance this year, I want to see how he does. but I'm looking at box scores for that. I'm not watching inning 1 through inning 9 of spring training games. These are compelling baseball games with great talent and people who care. And that's the whole thing. If you watch something and the atmosphere is full of people who care.
Passion, man.
That makes all the difference.
Well, I got lucky enough to go down to a couple WBC games in Miami. And, I didn't know necessarily what to expect. Now, I've been a big supporter of the WBC and, I'm a big proponent of it. I like it. It's fun. But one of the reasons I like it is exactly what you're talking about. It's less about whether or not we're going to win and seeing other countries' players, although I want to do both. As I've gotten older, I just have a great passion for baseball. I love the game. I love a lot of what it stands for and what it's been able to do. I love that you have so many well-represented countries with major league talent. I think it's great to see that cross of player from different leagues and in different countries. And what I really love is that in places like the Dominican Republic, like Puerto Rico, like Japan, they love the game. The fans, it is the be-all, end-all. And that passion, it was felt in the stadium in Miami. It was awesome and in a positive way. And I want to relay that, by the way. I think for American fans in some cases, the thought of going to a place where you're not necessarily going to outnumber the opponent's fans, because that certainly wasn't the case in the game against the Dominican Republic in Miami, that you could be intimidated or worried about things getting out of control in the stands. It's the furthest thing from it. The Canadians that were there, the Japanese fans that were there, the American fans that were there, the Dominican Republic fans, Venezuelan, all of it's great if it's a day pass and you're to see 3 games or whatever, all interspersed in the stadium together, and there's chants and flag waving and fun and everybody just having a great time sharing a love of baseball. I saw nothing in the way of contentious reaction, but rather just celebration of your country or your team, whoever it is you're rooting for, and people kind of just celebrating baseball. It was really cool. It's an idealized version of what you'd like to see fans do and behave like.
And it's in a time that there isn't much on. That's the other thing.
Right,
Again,
right,
I'm a person who's in the market to watch something compelling. If you're in the market, it's Wednesday in March. There's no college basketball tonight. There's nothing going on tonight. If you're not an NBA fan or a hockey fan, you're looking for something tonight. Try this. Just try it. It's going to be a really, really meaningful game.
9
to
o'clock,
both teams on the field tonight. It's 9 o'clock Eastern, or DVR it and watch in the morning. Whatever. If you have to go to bed, just give it a shot. I did. Jeff was talking about this, and I said, I don't know how much I'm going to care. And frankly, if the Americans had made it this far, I don't know how much I'd care.
But you've watched some other games, too.
I have, but I've flipped to them.
Sure.
This one, I am sitting down and
I'm
dedicating.
not saying you'd be like, man, I cannot wait to watch Venezuela and Israel.
There we go.
Yeah, but
this is the matchup that I've been waiting for.
Good baseball is good baseball.
Yeah,
and
it is.
If you want to watch, and there's been some really good baseball. And that's the part that I like most about it. It's something that I can – and listen, if they ever get this thing like they're talking about doing where because the All-Star game no longer means anything, if they have various stages and eventually create a stage where that week of the All-Star game, those days, those 4 days where nothing happens.
Sure. International vacation season.
Where you can end up having a fantastic matchup for all the marbles or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Sure. In fact, there's a lot of discussion about this. Buster Olney, Jason Stark talking about it. I've become a bit of a geek on this subject just to see where it goes, because this could be something that is a trivia question 20 years from now because it didn't work out. There wasn't enough viewership, and so the leagues in Japan and the leagues overseas in Europe and in the Dominican, they all say, all right, you know what? Unfortunately, America doesn't care. We're getting great viewership, but America doesn't care, so we have to scuttle this thing. The Players Association doesn't see the monetary value or the value in playing. Well, what they're proposing is an idea that, yes, you play the finals, the semifinals and the finals the week of the All-Star break.
The All-Star break, right.
And then you take off the weekend of All-Star week that we know, Friday through Sunday, and that's when the players get their break and you start up again on Monday. But the problem is it's the league office and the owners. The owners don't want to do that, because you have a weekend in July of revenues that are always bigger because school's out. So when you have the ability for kids to come to baseball games and they're not in school, that's when the revenue is at its highest. They don't see it as a long-term gain for the benefit of baseball. They see it as a loss for their bottom line, for their revenues of their home games.
It's shocking to find out that
Correct.
the billionaire owners are much more concerned about getting a few extra dollars as opposed to the betterment of the game on the world stage.
Even though the commissioner wants this. The
Of
owners
course
do
he
not.
does.
The owners do not. So that's why there's a bit of an impasse here.
Not surprising. Typically, when we talk about owners, they're on the wrong side of almost anything that doesn't make them an extra dollar or so. So, yeah, of course, that's not surprising. But it's also frustrating, and they could maybe be swayed. Typically, well, you do have a commissioner who's a huge, huge advocate for this thing.
So do you need text updates? You're going to have it on when you're hosting your Sirius XM golf radio show tonight?
Now, it is fun hosting my Sirius XM golf radio show.
It's been on during a lot of sporting events this spring.
It has, and it's on all over the world, and it's on all over the country, certainly.
Speaking of the world, marketing to the world.
Awful lot of fun to be on in drive time in Los Angeles. And we get great feedback, Tom. And it's nice of you to mention the show, Beyond the Tips, me and Trey Jones, on Sirius 208 XM92 or vice versa. But the point would be this. We have tonight off. Because of the start of the World Golf Championship on a Wednesday. We get the night off, so I'm watching live, buddy.
Oh, wow.
We will return and air Beyond the Tips on Sirius 208 XM92 next week, nationwide.
That would be Wednesday,
it
March
will be
29th,
Wednesday, on
the year of our Lord,
right,
2017.
at 9 p.m. Can't wait to do it. Be a lot of fun, as it always is. Last week we had Daniel Berger on. Week before that we had Brooks Koepka on. Always having great guests. We've had Tim Mickelson, Phil's brother, on. We've had a lot of great people.
It would be nice to hear some of these interviews right here on these airwaves.
I've got news regarding that. I'm not allowed to share it just yet, but I can assure you that it is moving in a positive direction. So the expansion of the Jeff Cameron brand that we so frequently reference, Tom, it's happening, buddy. So I think soon, right here, you might be able to hear said national show on Sirius XM. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for that, buddy.
That's what I do. Come on. Who says I don't look out for you?
Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Carry a full line of Mahindra implements. Go visit their knowledgeable staff at TNT Supercenter, located at 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. Call them at 229-228-5297.
97.9 ESPN Radio would like to congratulate North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz, the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month. Jonathan is a first and third baseman on the Eagles baseball team and is hitting over .475 with 10 hits, a home run, 5 RBI, and 8 runs scored early in the season. Jonathan has a cumulative GPA of 4.137 and is a member of the North Florida Christian Student Government. As the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz is now qualified as a finalist for the Dale Jr. $2,500 End of the Year Scholarship. Check out all of the Athlete of the Month nominees by visiting our website, ESPNTallahassee.com. And to help support the fine folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee or online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac.com.
Hi, honey. How was your day?
It was fine. Pretty uneventful. How about you?
Well, I called the auditors this afternoon and made an appointment for one to come out to the house.
Wait, what? Have you lost your mind? Auditors? Why would you call them? Now we have to find our tax returns, paycheck stubs, and financial records, not to mention all those forms. Good grief.
Relax, honey. It's not that kind of auditor.
It's not?
No. I called the City of Tallahassee Utilities and scheduled a free energy audit.
Energy audit?
Right. It's when an energy auditor from our own utilities comes out to the house, examines the structure, and checks our energy energy and water systems, and then recommends changes we might make to save energy, water, and money.
And you said it's free.
Absolutely. It's free from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, our own utilities.
Sounds good to me. Let's save some money.
If you're a City of Tallahassee residential, electric, and natural gas customer, you can schedule a free energy audit. Call 891-4YOU. That's 891-4968. And schedule your free energy audit at a time most convenient for you. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we keep it real, especially when talking about our honestly awesome food. To convey that, let's play two truths and a lie. Moe's handcrafted guac is A, made daily with Hass avocados. B, hard to say backwards. C, inspired by 6th century guacamoleans. Okay, we stink at lying. When we say something, it's true in every restaurant. So come into Moe's Southwest Grill for some honestly awesome food, like a burrito bowl created with our 20-plus fresh ingredients.
With 6 locally owned Tallahassee locations, there's always a Moe's close by.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Killearn Country Club is now offering Discovery membership. Jeff, what is this Discovery membership you're speaking of? During the month of March, you can purchase a 60-day term membership that will be good for the months of April and May, after which you can commit to a full membership at Killearn Country Club. If you commit by June 15th, your 60-day membership fee will serve as your enrollment fee. In other words, after your 60-day Discovery membership, you can join Killearn Country Club, and there's no upfront money due at contract signing. There is no better way to experience the many benefits of Killearn Country Club membership. You and your family will enjoy full access to the beautiful championship golf course, driving range, tennis facilities, fitness centers, swimming pool, dining room, clubhouse facilities, and social events. This is a limited offer, so call Lori Wilkie today at 893-2186, extension 145, to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Again, Lori Wilkie at 893-2186, extension 145.
Ready to wind down after a long day? McGowan's Hops and Grapes, your neighborhood bar with an upscale and creative menu designed for the customer to sit, share, and relax. They have 43 craft beer taps with growlers to go, 32 and 64 ounces. Weekly wine specials to choose from with over 75 wines, and more than 35 are served by the glass. A menu designed to share with friends, shareables, unique flatbreads, and sandwiches. Not your typical bar food. The To-Go app is coming next month. McGowan's Hops and Grapes, located at Bannerman 3 Crossing. Online at beerwinefun.com or call them 999-8505.
Everyone likes to be recognized and to be shown appreciation for a job well done or service beyond the call of duty. Let Artistic Awards and Engraving provide the perfect award or gift for you. Artistic Awards is family-owned and operated, and they're also veterans. They take pride in providing high-quality professional service and superb craftsmanship. Not only do they have an extensive selection to choose from, they will create a custom piece just for you. So there's no reason to shop anyplace else. Stop by Artistic Awards and Engraving today at 2001 North Monroe Street across from Hooters, or visit them on the web at artisticawardsanengraving.com.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Brickley. The magical run for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic continuing after what they did against Japan in the semis.
Japan down to their final strike. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. Strike 3. He got him. And the United States will play for a World Baseball Classic championship tomorrow night. They beat Japan 2-1.
Dave Fleming on ESPN Radio as Team USA advancing to their first ever final in the WBC, set to take on Puerto Rico Wednesday here on ESPN Radio and on ESPN Deportes. Jerry Krause, known as the architect of the Bulls teams that won 6 championships in the 90s, died at the age of 77. NFL news, Panthers quarterback Cam Newton set to undergo surgery next week to repair a partially torn rotator cuff. And in the NHL, Penguins clinching their 11th straight postseason berth after the 3-1 win over the
Wednesday
Sabres.
with Greeny and Golick. Does the NBA have a real problem with marquee players resting? We'll talk with Tim Legler, plus Mel Kiper Jr. on his latest mock draft. It's Mike and Mike, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. But, hey, if you do, I understand you're busy. It happens. We've got you. All 3 hours going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. So go catch up. All brought to you with limited commercial interruption by our sponsor, CarltonDean.com, helping you with investments in commercial real estate. Income-producing property. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app, free for your mobile devices. That Tuesday, good thing. And finally, on YouTube, you can now watch the show as we perform it live. Go to YouTube and type in ESPN Tallahassee. You'll see the feed there, and then go from there. You're good to go. Everything all right in there? What's going on with Jason today? I know that's not the lead of a 5 o'clock hour, but apparently as we were coming back on in this 5 o'clock hour, he was crying at a podium.
Okay, here's why. It's actually really sad news. Okay, for him and his family. And Jason had to withdraw because his mom is having surgery on Friday. She's been diagnosed with lung cancer, and it's very aggressive lung cancer.
Oh.
So he was trying to defend his match play title.
Right.
And so when he withdrew from the tournament and he went to the podium, his emotions got the best of him. Trying to run this down because I guess we didn't have sound outside, and we were just kind of seeing that Jason was
just crying at the yeah
quite emotional. But that's a really sad story.
Oh, that's terribly sad. I hate to hear that. I just thought that he said my mom has lung cancer. She's going in for surgery Friday. Hard to comprehend being on the golf course. I read the quote there from Jason Sobel of ESPN.com. He's going to leave to be with his mother for said surgery. She's been here in the U.S. I just need some time away with her. All right, so that's that. And I didn't mean to start the 5 o'clock hour with that, but it was just weird because when you do a live show like this and something begins to break, and including the defending champion who is scheduled to participate in the event and then backs out and is crying at the dais as we're getting ready, as we're walking through the lobby, I was kind of thinking, well, what in the world? Oddly, as sad as that is, Tom, I think it's better than what I thought you might say. So that's strange enough. Florida State, let's go to something positive. Won a baseball game. In and of itself, a midweek win against Jacksonville isn't that big a deal. Might last night's win be the thing that gets this thing going? Because it's been a disappointing 7 days, to say the least. At the end of the 7 days, Florida State finds something that they can grab onto, which is a comeback victory. I asked in the first hour, and I ask again here, is it the catalyst for this team to start playing, or just a temporary respite from a disappointing run for a team that was perhaps overrated or not playing nearly as well as we thought they could? It's hard to ask those larger questions at the end of a bad week or at the end of a great moment of one game. I can't know that necessarily, and I understand that about the sport of baseball, but it was somewhat alarming for the number one team in the land to go on the road, face some good competition, and lose all but one of those games, and in certain cases, lose in embarrassing fashion, 17-0, for example, against Virginia Tech to conclude that series, also blowing a 10-2 lead and losing 13-12. Certainly couldn't say they didn't show fight in that game, but didn't have much in the way of relief pitching, and it was good to see the bullpen last night pick up the starters for once. Carp's been great. He wasn't last night, got tattooed. They give up 7 in the first, and you thought, here we go again. What the hell is going on with this baseball team? And then they fight back and get the win, scoring 3 in the bottom of the ninth, scoring 2 with 2 outs on a J.C. Flowers single to bring in the last 2 runs with 2 strikes. And the way they poured out of that dugout and celebrated this win shows they were certainly in need of something positive to happen. I think, certainly with the sport of baseball, it's pretty easy to begin to doubt yourself no matter how talented or how good you thought you were going to be coming into a season.
And certainly you have to pump the brakes on it because it's a Tuesday night against Jacksonville. However, at the same time, if you're looking for or at three elements and two of them do well for you and one does poorly for you, this is the mix you're looking for if you want hope for what's to come. Because the bullpen picked up Carp, and the offense picked Carp up as well. The bullpen giving up just one earned run in 8 1/3 innings last night, that's absolutely huge given what they've been so far this year. They sorely needed that. The offense sorely needed a big moment or two, and they sorely needed to produce, and they got the production from the two areas that have been failing the team. Carp's performance is concerning. We'll certainly watch the next one a little bit closer, but he's been the steady Eddie. He was the one last week that was firing bullets down in Gainesville, and we were talking about he's probably primed for the weekend rotation. So if you're looking across three phases of the game and one fails you and two succeed, these are the two you wanted to succeed as we're trying to break out of a slump.
Yeah, let's see what this team still is yet to become. Certainly there's a lot of baseball. As they say, it's cliche, but it's absolutely true. So I am curious, and it will be interesting, but they have not played in a way that we thought a team ranked number one in the land would play, and this was an especially bad week. So nice of them to get a win last night. The other big news of the day is that Dwayne Bacon has declared for the NBA draft. Not surprising necessarily, although I will say this about that. I would be certainly I would have been more surprised if Jonathan Isaac, for example, had said he was coming back. And there's a guy that's a kind of can't-miss situation, so you just assumed he is certainly going to the NBA, although that hasn't been announced yet. Dwayne Bacon, we say it's not surprising, but it wasn't a certainty because he's projected in a lot of ways by a lot of people to be an early to mid-second rounder, and as I've noted before, that mid-second round, or second-round guys, period, do not get guaranteed contracts.
I wonder how much his performance in the tournament helped his decision, too, because he played well in the tournament. And if it was a continuation of what we saw in the back half of conference play, the large part of the season, really, then what would he look like as far as a prospect moving forward? What would the people in his camp be telling him, his family be telling him about the decision that he has to make? But he had a good tournament. And so I think that helped make it easier.
Leaves us with this. We were looking at it about who it is that would have to leave from this roster if you're looking at what Florida State is recruiting, right? They're trying to add for 5 commits to FSU, and they may still add another signee, is what we're hearing.
If they get the Walker kid or the Knox kid, yeah.
So at the time, you were kind of asking about whether or not, well, if either Bacon or Isaac don't leave, or if XRM doesn't leave, XRM being the biggest there, I think, in terms of, it seems to me he's a guy that could go either way. But the other two we kind of figured would leave. Then somebody else on the roster would have to be booted to allow for the 5 commits to come to FSU next year. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Ham is fond of saying, don't count my scholarships. Okay, well, there is a real question as to what happens. Going back to the draft, Malik Beasley last year got drafted at 19 by Denver, and he was unable to participate in workouts due to a stress fracture in his leg. That was kind of surprising because there were guys that thought that maybe he wouldn't go to the second round, and we thought his upside was pretty great. And then he couldn't work out, and he still got drafted where he did at 19. There are more questions about Bacon. It doesn't mean he won't go in the first round, but he's projected in the second round. I would love to hear what went into that decision.
Well, to quickly flash back to last year, we thought if one guy was going to stay, it would be Beasley, and if another was going to go, it would be Bacon. But
Yeah,
it was
because of the body type thing.
The body type thing, and then as we found out, the draft pool, there were a lot of forwards and wings, and so this was a better chance the next year for Bacon. And how much he really, really wanted to come back and be a Knoll for the process, that remains to be seen, or that can be debated. But he came back and he wanted to refine things. And remember the interview he did on this program earlier in the season when he talked about a greater commitment to different facets of his game and improving his craft. And he did improve in certain areas this year.
He improved as a shooter. He's a mid-range guy. He doesn't shoot the 3-ball very well at all, and didn't, I don't think, do himself any favors in regards to that particular shot. He's never defended or rebounded all that well.
But though his shot has improved, I don't know that his draft stock has improved year to year. Because if you're hearing second-round buzz, what would be the difference between this year and last year?
Well, I said earlier, after he had a stretch of 3 or 4 poor games, where he wasn't scoring, and certainly when he's not scoring, you can ask yourself, what is he doing on the floor because he didn't defend? You'd be hard-pressed to say he was a better player this year than he was last. That was the question I asked. And maybe I'm wrong on that. NBA scouts certainly would know more than I would about that. I do think, and this is what I brought up before, I'll bring up again here, how we view this run, Malik Beasley, Dwayne Bacon, Jonathan Isaac, 26 wins this season, second in the ACC, tournament win, get bounced in humiliating fashion in the second round. How we view all of this, really, I don't think will be determined for another 2 to 3 years. I said before, I hope that this was the catalyst for a new beginning. This was something that was going to see this basketball program be invested in by the university, standards shift to a higher plane, and accountability, once those shifts are made, certainly dictate that you're going to have to be wildly more consistent than you've been in the last 4 to 5 years. And if that's true, if this was all part of that makeover, all part of a more dedicated athletic department and university to basketball, and thus expectations could rightfully be elevated, then that's good. And we'll all look back at this with fond memories and say, man, you can remember when it all changed. When they brought in Beasley and Bacon and Isaac, and we changed our style of play, and we were far more entertaining to watch, and we made the tournament finally after not making it for 4 straight years. And, man, they had decided that was it. We improved the locker rooms. They bought the facility. Things were changing. We won't know that for years from now. If they go right back to being middling to an also-ran, to not making the tournament, I wonder, would they make a change? I wonder, would they say, okay, no, so there's no going back now. We're not doing this. There's no going back. We made a decision to elevate what we expect from our basketball program. And how did we do that? Not just by words, but by dollars.
Well, assuming attrition is what we think it is, and that means that Isaac would be gone, and I think we expect that XRM would be gone next year. Or do we?
No, we do. XRM will be gone. Isaac will be gone. Bacon is gone. Announced it today. Obviously you lose Ojo, no real loss there, but you're going to lose guys. And
I just wonder who puts the ball in the basket with consistency next year. You think we didn't have scoring down the stretch this year? I mean, who's going to be the guy next year that's going to? I mean, really, is a guy going to arrive on campus and be ready to go as an offensive weapon?
Well, they're bringing in shooters, and I do think that they've got a guy that the 6'8" kid, the great kid, they like him a lot. He can shoot it. They're bringing in a higher caliber player. We're seeing that lately. I wouldn't rule it out. Now, they are bringing in a big center. We don't expect him to shoot. He's a shot blocker, and he's the 53rd ranked recruit in the country. That's Florida State's highest rated recruit.
Exactly.
And that's why, again, you temper certain expectations. But I think the way you look at them is a team that will take a huge step back, but they also took a huge step forward. So, you're not going to win 26 games. Can you win 20, and can they be significant enough to get you into the tournament? Again, this is about sustaining success. You're not going to play at that level year in and year out. You're not a blue blood of this league. So you understand that, but you can't take a step back. You've got to now become a program of significance, which is to say 3 out of every 4 years, 4 out of every 5 years, you make the NCAA tournament. Then slowly but surely, maybe you bring the fans in. Maybe then there's a return on investment. Maybe then you decide to do more.
Once again, to represent the perspectives here, we have the fans' perspective, which is Ham has been here far too long. Many of the fans, I should say. Ham has been here too long anyway, and I'm not sure that you can get beyond what we've seen this year, which is a really nice performance, one of the best performances from a win total standpoint in program history. But then you match up against a coach who really can X and O it, and we're going to be at a deficit there, and maybe one that's too great if we don't bring our shooting shoes and if we can outplay our own schemes. Okay, there's that fan. The administration, Stan Wilcox and Carl Hicks, are here in place to help the basketball program. I think they're feeling really good about where things are.
Yeah.
Because if you're them, you've seen that the facility has been purchased. The seats are nicer. You actually have a real video board. You've got a real locker room. The practice facility needs work, but we're going to work on that. That's probably their next phase, is what they want to do there. And then the product itself, better recruits coming in, more results. On the brink of the tournament last year, tournament win this year, 26 wins, second place ACC. Okay, we're moving in the right direction. Floor has been raised. And if that raised floor is not lived up to in the next couple of years,
that's when you can rightfully
then
say
we're going to
it's
make
time.
a change.
Right.
I think that's where they stand on this. And I'm not trying to speak for them, but I'm just guessing here.
Well,
because
and it's
last
a
year's
fair
statement was
guess,
not a
too.
ringing endorsement
Well,
of
that's
Leonard.
the other thing. What people get, and we'll move on from this, what people get mad about, though, is this idea that they feel indebted to Hamilton at all costs to keep him around no matter what. And I think it would be wise for those folks to go back and read the statement from President Thrasher last year when the extension was announced, one that we found out later on wasn't signed, oddly enough. Anyhow, go read what he wrote, what he said. His statement isn't exactly a ringing endorsement. It is all right, got a good class coming in. We're just now investing. I hope that you're able to make the necessary improvements, or else we'll be moving on without you. Without saying those exact words, that's what was implied in that statement.
Well, I think that, again, that's the thing. Though the fans have a relationship with this coaching group for almost 16, 17 years now, this administration does not. President doesn't. Athletic department doesn't. Stan Wilcox doesn't. Carl Hicks doesn't. So, again, they're looking at this thing completely differently, with a completely new perspective compared to the way we're looking at it. I mean, the idea that you're talking about in the first hour for change, let's get a new set of eyes on the situation.
Sometimes it's good just to have a new set of eyes.
That's your new set of eyes, the athletic department. That's what this is. And I promise that they can't be looking at it the same way we are with the fatigue that we're looking at it. They're not looking at it that way. They're seeing progress behind the scenes, and they're seeing progress in the product. If the product doesn't continue or sustain the way it's going, then there's going to be a change made.
Yeah, I would say this, too, and it may seem irrational after a 26-win season, but if you don't make the tournament next year, I think you're free to make the change. I think you'd be within your reason to make the change. If they don't make the tournament this year, now somebody might say, well, but they just won 26 games the year before. Man, nah, we're done. We're changing expectations. We've moved into a different realm. Again, maybe even there are those that would say, oh, that's crazy too, Jeff. Okay, that's fine. I just think at that point you could, almost for change's sake, you got to be careful what you wish for. There are no guarantees that by making that change, things improve. It could get worse.
Well, and then you talk about
it could get worse.
Feet being held to the fire for the administration who has to make that decision.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. You better get that hire right.
And a lot of times when you're taking guys from programs, and it's what everybody loves to do, they like to see a guy like a Mac who succeeds at Xavier, or like they did with Steve Robinson or others that had success at mid-majors that don't have to compete against Carolina and Duke and recruit against programs like Syracuse and Louisville. They like to assume that, well, if you can get them there, well, those schools don't have football programs that they care about at all. They invest in basketball. That's their sport, and they're not competing against a Duke, a monstrosity like that. So it's a little bit easier for them to do that. There are no guarantees that if you get that guy, he comes here, he then wins those recruiting battles enough to make a significant change or step forward.
And that doesn't mean that there aren't good hires out there.
Oh,
that does not mean
right
that.
There are, right.
But,
it's a little bit of a
Shaka
guessing
Smart
game.
went to Texas.
Ain't working out there.
And I'm sure that they have plenty of money to do what they need to do. And Bruce Pearl, who's not a mid-major coach, is at Auburn, and they haven't done a damn thing. But he was another person that we wanted here desperately.
Even after he was fired with cause for cheating and getting caught doing so. Yeah, there are no guarantees with that stuff, and you hope to do what, frankly, Florida did, which is get really lucky and catch lightning in a bottle and have it be the guy that works out perfectly. But you don't know, because every time you can throw that example out, I can throw 10 more out in which it didn't work at all.
The problem is, Larinaga got hired at Miami, and he's brought them to a certain level. And then, obviously, Florida's made a couple of hires, and they've been good hires. So it's just, you see it in state, too, and that fuels this fire, and the pitchforks, they are raised higher in the air.
Yeah, but which is really odd, because if you juxtapose that with the fact that you wouldn't think you could possibly miss on a football hire at a school like Florida. And I would argue that basically they're not going to miss on just one, the last one, but this one. It's not going to work out. I mean, McElwain's got a window, a very small one, and it's coming up. I know he won the East. Sure, give him an extension.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574 4100.
4. You turn your shower on, but the hot water is gone. Now you're steaming mad cause you're freezing cold, caught in a sub-zero stranglehold. Next time get up first, your roommate is the worst. Half-hour showers. When your morning is hell, just go to Taco Bell.
And for just $1, let us make you breakfast. Like the grilled breakfast burrito with eggs and bacon wrapped in a warm tortilla. At participating locations, served during breakfast hours. Prices may vary, tax extra.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
Hi, this is Chris Kraft reminding you that the 2017 Tally Awards are Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. So come join your local business and community leaders for a fantastic night of great food, dancing, and live music from St. Paul and the Broken Bones as we celebrate Tallahassee's People's Choice Awards for favorite local businesses. This is the business networking event of the year. Visit tallyawards.com to purchase your tickets today. The 2017 Tally Awards presented by Kraft Nissan is a benefit for Capital City Youth Services, and all proceeds go to serving homeless, runaway, and at-risk youth right here in our community. Did you know that CCYS has a transitional living program to get kids off the street? Or that CCYS has a street outreach program that teaches basic life skills to our homeless youth? But it takes your generous support. So please join us at the 2017 Tally Awards Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. It will be a great evening of friends, fun, and celebration. And best of all, it's for a great cause. Purchase your tickets today and help CCYS help our youth right here in Tallahassee. Thank you. Tickets and sponsorship information is available at tallyawards.com.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. Might I suggest the chicken taco salad from Bandito's Burritos, my friend?
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Attention Rockheads, ESPN Tallahassee wants to hook you up for Welcome to Rockville, April 29th and 30th in Jacksonville. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com right now for the Welcome to Rockville ticket giveaway. Click on the front page banner to fill out our registration form. And every Friday, we'll be unloading 2 weekend passes for a lucky winner and a friend. A $200 savings from us to you. Winners will be announced every Friday afternoon in the 5 o'clock hour. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com and sign up today.
Join us for 8 days of nonstop tennis as the rising stars of the USTA Pro Circuit battle for a main draw wildcard into the French Open. It's the 18th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 22nd through the 29th at the Forest Meadows Tennis Complex. Proceeds benefit the Wagner Neurointensive Care Unit at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, Tallahassee Democrat, the City of Tallahassee, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, 850 Business Magazine, and Comcast.
You know, we never talked about this, but he's not here now, so I'll bring it up to you. Is Tom kind of violating the man rule with all that sangria?
You know, if we were in Spain, it'd be a whole different situation.
All right, guys, how's it going? You ready to record?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
No, well, I'm good. Did you, you just turn those on?
Yeah, why?
No reason. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
A lot of people feel like a mistake was made at the end of last year when Coach Fisher decided to bring back his staff, in particular his defensive staff. Fisher said about stability. I read this too in coachingsearch.com. I don't know if you saw this, Tom. Florida State is one of just 3 Power 5 schools to bring back their entire staff for a third straight season. Michigan State, Northwestern, or 2 other schools that have. And turnover is obviously frequent this day and age. And he said that he hasn't seen a reason to make a change and that there's value in stability. And he said, quote, "It lets you know what's going on. It's stability. Guys get relationships. People don't realize change this, change that. Well, that's all great. Everybody wants change in this world now, but you're breaking relationship, how a guy's coached, how a guy's told what to do, how he knows what the coach wants and all of that. It helps when you keep continuity." And he goes on to talk about old, experienced, know what to do, not enamored by all things like young players, eyes get giddy and the grass is always greener, that kind of stuff. And he talked about the virtues of sticking with guys that you know. And I was just thinking to myself during the break, and in light of that and just about this spring so far, it's been disjointed and uninteresting, and there has been nothing to talk about with spring football. And I can't tell if that's me or reality. That's a real thing, or am I tuned out? I think it's a real thing because it started, and then you went and took 8-9 days off because of spring break, and that when they returned, they came back and they're in shorts and T-shirts and padded helmets, so people aren't really doing a damn thing except for running around looking like athletes, but it doesn't tell you anything. There's no story there. I mean, it's been the most uneventful up to this point spring that I can remember, and I can't decide if that's good, bad, or neither. I just don't – there's not a lot of buzz surrounding the spring. It doesn't mean that people aren't interested in what's going to happen with Florida State football. Of course not. There's just nothing to talk about.
I'd prefer it to be quiet. You don't want to hear any bad news. And honestly, I'm tired of hearing the good news in spring too, because how many players have we heard about that are going to be stars and we hear about it in spring, and then in fall camp you can't find them on the 2-deep? You know? I mean, I understand why he was dismissed from the program, but Greg Dent was one of the superstars of spring football, and we thought, oh, well, this guy has to be a factor this year. I mean, at all times. And we've seen defenders the same way, that you feel like, well, this guy's shown so much promise that he has to make the field. He has to find his way in 50% of the snaps at minimum, and he's going to be a game breaker. No, that's not really how it works. So I'd rather they just, whatever urgency the coaching staff needs to impart to them as we embark on countdown to Alabama and Atlanta, go ahead. Go about your business. If there's a big story, if somebody is really actually showing out in camp and they play well in the spring game, that's all great. That's wonderful. But I'd rather spring be quiet than full of storylines and potential distractions.
It's just as quiet as I could ever remember, though. And I think too, it all goes back to the beginning of the season. All eyes on Charles Kelly. Such a disaster to start the year. How ugly it all was. Not just that they didn't perform well or they didn't play as well as their recruiting rankings say they should be, but just because it was an unmitigated disaster.
I think part of it, too, is you have continuity at quarterback. So there's not a sexy topic there. There's not even competition for Francois. So Francois is your starter, you know that. There's not the game breaker in Dalvin Cook. Cam Akers is on campus. That's pretty cool, but you can't talk to freshmen, so you're not going to hear from them. You'll see him play, hopefully. Hopefully they don't put non-contact on him or anything, and you actually see Cam Akers make his debut, and that'll be fun the moment it happens. But from practice reports, you're not going to get much. And like you just said, we've had continuity in the coaching staff for how many years?
And
so
people,
you don't have the new coordinator that we can talk about.
Right, and people would love to be talking about somebody other than Bill Miller. Somebody would love the opportunity to talk to somebody.
Somebody on the other side of the glass from me would probably want to be talking about somebody other than Bill Miller.
Well, he's a guy that's a candidate for a coach that people might nominate to be changed.
And Damian Craig coming back can only do so much.
Well, good, and he can only do so much because of the capacity that he now retains. So I don't, I will say this: the story to me is not about the defense. Now, defensive coaching, yes, but that won't be answered until you play the Alabama game, until you get into the season, or until you play a system that can expose you the way that Louisville did. Really, frankly, the Louisville game will be pretty important, yeah? It's going to need...
So will Miami week 3? I mean, by week 3, we'll have a better idea. Because if Alabama comes out and they play well and they produce offensively, you can look at it and chalk it up to any number of things, one of them being they're Alabama. So, they're going to produce.
You would chalk it up to the fact that they were within a play of winning a national title. They went 14-1 and have better players than you.
But if you get through week 3 and Miami, lights up the scoreboard too, win or lose, but if they produce, then okay, then that conversation gets real again.
Well, then there's no going back. I'll tell you what, I mean, maybe Fisher won't think of that, but if he gives up a ton of points to Alabama and then in turn turns around and gives up a ton of points to Miami, well, what are we doing here? Because that's the side of the ball, frankly, with players that I feel most comfortable about. They should be dramatically better next year. I'm more concerned with our offense than I am our defense. With all that you're replacing at wide receiver, with a quarterback that needs to get much more accurate, will Jimbo Fisher allow him to utilize his legs and adapt to the new way of playing offensive football? There are all these questions about this offensive line. I have a lot more in the way of questions personnel-wise, X's and O's-wise, how it's called, all those things on offense than I do defense. Now, somebody hears that, they say, wait, you just said the defense was the concern. Based on the way they played a year ago, Charles Kelly is basically on a hot seat. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just talking about the personnel. You go through this, Josh Sweat, Kane Doe, DeMarcus Christmas,
Derek Nottie,
Wally Aim, Derek Nottie. We're loaded at that position, by the way. You got depth for days. Burns. You look at linebackers, Brown and Pugh, and listen, you got guys. Matthew Thomas coming back. Dontavius Jackson emerged last year. We love him at linebacker. Hoskins, which we, all right. McFadden, stud. Andrews is back, so you've got a really experienced guy who gets it. Trey Marshall, Avonta Taylor, Derwin James, Ermon Lane. They got people back. They got depth. They got talent. They got speed. They got size. There's no reason they shouldn't be really good, frankly. And if they aren't, he should be fired. We're not dilly-dallying and waiting to see if you finish strong. You get the hell up out of here. There's no time for this nonsense. They got players. They've got real good players there. Offensively, my question is really, what can you become? And what will you – I'm very curious to see the way that Jimbo Fisher calls the game and what he features. For example, we talk about Cam Akers comes in. But you got a guy, Jacques Patrick, whom you and I both love, but for whatever reason just doesn't seem to be a guy that maybe Fisher's in love with.
Well, he doesn't really fit our offensive identity the way that Jimbo likes to call games, yeah.
And you don't have a backup quarterback. Not one that you believe in or know anything about. I mean, Cosentino you know about, which is why you don't believe in him. The other guy you haven't really seen. So you've got
spring game for Bailey Hockman. There you go.
Jake Rizzo. Obviously Auden Tate, if he stays healthy, and Naquan Murray, stars. Keith Gavin, potentially a star. You got guys there whose upside I like more than the last year's core receivers. By far, a lot more. They could be electrifying. Gavin could be a superstar player. We know this.
And Nooney can. We know that for sure.
Absolutely. And if George Campbell is actually healthy and can get into the mix,
the new unicorn.
Well, this receiving core could be really, really good. And then I just need my quarterback to be a little bit more consistent from the pocket. But I also would love to see him run and, something beyond rollouts, see him run more. And then, of course, we seem to be yearly questioning, understandably so, the offensive line. In particular, you're wondering what's going to happen at center. I will say this, one of the stories that has emerged is Bavion Johnson, who's lost 45 pounds since coming on campus, is down to 305, 302, I think I saw, and a guy that has apparently perhaps worked his way out of the doghouse. Talked to somebody today who was talking about that. He's a guy that when he first stepped foot on campus, they said from an ability standpoint, they could see long-term as the center who could dominate. and that he was a more talented player than Baselli. But Baselli they could rely on, and he was a guy that maybe didn't have Bavion's ability, but was a guy that they thought they could trust and was really smart. Well, we'll see.
They were doing backflips when Bavion actually signed the line that is dotted. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think what'll be fascinating, too, and maybe I'll have to play the tape back so I remember this when we get into the middle of August, but I think there's going to be a watered-down effect to any hype that's built up about this team and expectations.
Because of what happened a year ago.
Exactly. The Alabama-Florida State hype is real, and that's going to carry the day.
It's awesome,
the moment
too.
we break camp or we start camp in fall. However, any talk about, this is the first time in a few years I feel this excited from the coaching staff.
Nobody wants to hear that after last year. No,
it's a show and prove year.
So in July.
I wonder how that influences the discussion.
Yeah, well, in July, we'll be there in Charlotte with an opportunity to go to is it Greensboro or Charlotte?
Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be in Charlotte for the ACC meetings, and we won't believe a word anybody says about just how great a team this is potentially, because we heard all of that a year ago, and that backfired. Plus, there's a nervous energy surrounding the September the 2nd game against Alabama, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The anticipation for that will be huge. Obviously, when the preseason rankings come out and things like that begin, I think it will serve to hype even more than it is already, because I have a suspicion that people are going to be inclined to rank that 1 versus 2. And I think there's an understanding that you would rank Alabama number 1 preseason almost every year, no matter what.
And you'd be right, too.
And whereas maybe Florida State, that seems a bit much. But, right, like you said, 14 days after that game against Alabama, you play Miami here. And then, in between Louisiana and Monroe, which, whatever. But you got Miami here. And can you etch ever closer to the Platinum Bohica? Can you keep that streak alive? Can you beat Miami for an unprecedented record number of times, 8? You've already set the record at 7 this past year. But can you add to an already embarrassing number for the Canes and keep on keeping on? And then from there, I don't think I'll get excited again. Maybe this is a mistake, but I don't think I'll get excited again until you face Louisville here. That game will be hate-filled.
Yes, no matter what our record is.
I'm feeling it now. I'm a little angry right now talking about it.
No matter what our record is.
If we've lost every game.
Well, if we lost the 2 biggies, and you're hating life because the streak with Miami is over, you lost to Alabama.
Don't forget we go to Wallace Wade next year, buddy.
Oh, that's right. And that'll be a night game for certain. The track is gone, man. The fans are right on top of you.
Electric.
No matter what it is, our record, that night there's going to be revenge on the mind, and Knoll fans are going to be angry. And I hope it's a night game for that reason.
Yeah, and I also hope that, it's a game, not only that obviously you exact that revenge you're referencing, but I hope this is where Jimbo's memory is long and his disdain is bountiful. Because I don't think if you have an opportunity, call off the Dogs. Now, that's assuming an awful lot that you'd be in a position to do so. But if there's any chance to run up the score, I would do so, and then I'd kick an onside kick, and I would attempt to do it again, and then I'd call timeout. I'd try to get some more points. That would just continue until that funnel.
Then I'd run the dive short field at Petrino.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Foot?
No,
Did you kick a 63-yard field goal?
I can still dance. The doctors put it back on, man. It was pretty quick, but I hit a mailbox.
You're not kidding.
No,
you cut your foot off on a mailbox.
On a mailbox.
Did you feel it?
No.
I knew it. I told everybody with severe injuries, you don't ever feel it. Like a shark bites a guy's leg off, he never feels it.
Didn't feel it at all.
Seriously, you cut your foot off?
Yeah, I seriously cut my foot off.
Which foot?
My right foot.
Like halfway down? All the way
halfway.
Up, at the ankle?
At halfway. Look.
Holy. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
97.9 ESPN Radio would like to congratulate North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz, the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month. Jonathan is a first and third baseman on the Eagles baseball team and is hitting over .475 with 10 hits, a home run, 5 RBI, and 8 runs scored early in the season. Jonathan has a cumulative GPA of 4.137 and is a member of the North Florida Christian Student Government. As the March male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, North Florida Christian's Jonathan Droz is now qualified as a finalist for the Dale Jr. $2,500 End of the Year Scholarship. Check out all of the Athlete of the Month nominees by visiting our website, espntallahassee.com. And to help support the fine folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee or online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac.com.
With winter in the air, the deals are heating up at TNT Supercenter on Mahindra tractors. Up to 7-year warranties on select brands. Rebates up to $6,700 or 0% for 84 months. Mahindra tractors in stock range from 22 HP up to 105 HP. Unbelievable! Huge selections on tractors and more coming in every day. They also carry a full line of Mahindra implements. Go visit their knowledgeable staff at TNT Supercenter, located at 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. Call them at 229-228-5297.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay with Miller's Tree Service. When you need work done in your yard, you want a professional, someone you can trust to provide high-quality service and get the job done right. We've got 3 certified arborists and 6 work crews that can meet all your tree care needs. Hire the professionals at Miller's Tree Service, where we'll go out on a limb for you.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, our words are as real as our ingredients, which we call honestly awesome food. To illustrate that, let's play 2 truths and a lie. Moe's Pico de Gallo is A, made fresh daily. B, a good name for a conquistador. C, the fourth amigo. Okay, we stink at lying. When we say something, it's true in every restaurant. So come into Moe's Southwest Grill for some honestly awesome food, like a burrito bowl created with our 20-plus fresh ingredients.
With 6 locally owned Tallahassee locations, there's always a Moe's close by.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This day in sports history.
March 22nd, 1986. Throughout his career, Michael Jordan was nearly unstoppable, but not on this day. In a 123-97 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jordan didn't score double digits for the first time in a Bulls uniform. Jordan had played just 5 games after a broken foot, but he was held to only 8 points.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Chris Kraft reminding you that the 2017 Tally Awards are Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. So come join your local business and community leaders for a fantastic night of great food, dancing, and live music from St. Paul and the Broken Bones as we celebrate Tallahassee's People's Choice Awards for favorite local businesses. This is the business networking event of the year. Visit tallyawards.com to purchase your tickets today. The 2017 Tally Awards, presented by Kraft Nissan, is a benefit for Capital City Youth Services, and all proceeds go to serving homeless, runaway, and at-risk youth right here in our community. Did you know that CCYS has a transitional living program to get kids off the street? Or that CCYS has a street outreach program that teaches basic life skills to our homeless youth? But it takes your generous support. So please join us at the 2017 Tally Awards Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. It will be a great evening of friends, fun, and celebration. And best of all, it's for a great cause. Purchase your tickets today and help CCYS help our youth right here in Tallahassee. Thank you. Tickets and sponsorship information is available at tallyawards.com.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Don't forget, Go back, catch up, watch if you'd like on the YouTube stream, ESPN Tallahassee, what you type in. When you go to the YouTube stream and it'll populate, you'll see it's there as the show. It's live. You can watch it now live in real time. But you can always go back tonight, for example, if you wanted to, if that's what you want to do. Or you'll find the show on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Really no reason not to be able to find the content you're looking for from this particular show, right? What? I didn't say that meanly.
I don't know. You sounded kind of like Chris Farley driving the bus and Billy Madison.
Well, we just have so many things that we have to plug.
There's no damn reason you can't find your damn content.
I didn't say it
Turn
like
this
that.
damn bus around.
Man, I'm just saying. You can't miss out if you don't want to. There's lots of ways, obviously, to catch up. A lot of hashtag a-holes today. Well done, people on Twitter. That is our in-show hashtag that goes back a ways.
Hashtag a-hole.
Thank you. We had lots of questions, and I answered some. Not all. I should go back to, I'll go back to the questions from yesterday. I already answered the one about me taking a shot on the War Chant message board. Deborah did write, shame on us from yesterday for not having a single note of Chuck Berry. And that is because of the disjointed way the week works, where we did fail on Monday, I think it was. That is on me. We were so caught up in our loss.
We were mourning the tournament train. I don't know that you wanted to mourn the loss of a legend at the same time. That's a lot of mourning.
It was. But I typically, usually will, especially for somebody who practically invented rock and roll, have a doff of the cap.
Hashtag a-hole.
Yes, Deborah, that was fair. And then I guess Brett thought that we took the day off yesterday. No, that content was from Tuesday, so it was not another day off. But no, he does write about the Monday show that we did not mention the Lady Knowles making the Sweet 16. And he says, on a weekend that was disastrous, as disastrous as the men were in basketball and baseball, at least we had the women doing what they do. I have mentioned this before, so basketball is something that doesn't exactly move the needle, period. Well, guess what moves it even less? Women's basketball. Not at all. And there's zero competition. There's one good team in women's basketball. They're called UConn. Everybody else is playing to get their ass beat by UConn. We're done here.
Wait, UConn is the team, huh? I'll write that down.
So I love Sue, and I'm proud of the ladies, and let's just keep on keeping on. Hopefully they can get to the finals against UConn.
That's right. They're playing on Saturday, 6:30 p.m. in the Sweet 16. There you go, ESPN or ESPN2 against Oregon State.
Exciting times.
There you go.
So there's your mention, Brett, about that, and then I feel like I've caught up on most of the questions, or at least the ones that I'll answer.
The ones that you want to answer, yeah.
I thought the other ones...
U.S. going to win the World Baseball Classic tonight?
It's a baseball game, Tom. Anybody can win. It's true.
I'm just throwing a softball up here, and you're like,
you know what? Hey, listen, it's the first time we've ever been in the finals of the World Baseball Classic. We've cared to compete. We've competed very hard. It's been fun to watch. I do think there's a great possibility that tonight we bring it on home, but that's a very good Puerto Rican team that could beat us, and I wouldn't be surprised by that either. It depends on if Stroman can get out of that first damn inning, unlike the last time he pitched against Puerto Rico, was terrible, and was throwing softballs and couldn't get anybody out. And since he's starting tonight against that very same lineup, I'm slightly concerned. I am a little concerned.
All right, there it is.
There's a better, more thorough answer. Dude. Yeah, I have concerns. I agree with you that what you do here tonight is you don't dilly-dally. No pussyfooting. You got to be ready to roll, buddy. If that guy's out there walking the world the first couple of batters, peace. We're done here trying to win a championship.
There is no speaking softly.
A WBC championship, Marcus. Get your ass off this hill.
So you're going to get the T-shirt? The WBC Champions T-shirt if it were to happen?
Yeah, I will. When I went to Miami to watch the WBC, they sold jerseys for every country that was competing in the tournament, and you could get custom jerseys for the players, your favorite players on each of the teams, and all that. And they had a really nice McCutcheon jersey for the WBC that I almost bought my boys. But the problem is, and I hate to say this as much as I love the WBC, and I will be watching tonight, I hate our uniforms.
You know, like the swishy,
They suck.
S.
The hat's awful. The uniform's terrible. We have the worst of the uniforms in the World Baseball Classic. I like every country's more than ours.
Like an evil bald eagle on the helmet?
Yes.
Or on the hat, too?
Embrace the cheesiness. Go all in. Crank Lee Greenwood as you take the field. I mean, I do think they've got to do something. It's
proud to be a third baseman.
I don't like it.
National team.
I have the WBC hat. But I don't like it. I don't like it. We got to do better. We can do better. Blake asked during the last break, in what world is X an NBA player? Hashtag a-hole. He's not, but he can be a pro.
Hashtag a-hole.
You know, and he has, to his credit, let's give him credit here, he had a much greater season than I think we ever thought he could.
Good defender. Cared about, paid attention to,
Passionate,
his defensive intensity.
At times did a really good job of balancing his need to score with also distributing and running the offense. At times didn't, but he got a lot better in his time here and gave up a lot to do so. So I have less disdain for him than I once did.
A super healthy assist-to-turnover ratio. It's just unfortunate because there was one guy who was able to answer a run with his own three. That was the situation that X thrived in until the last couple of weeks of the season. Could have used that.
And he never shot the three ball well. I think he's a career 29% shooter. You're right. In those unique situations.
Yes, very unique circumstances. But what those would do is they would propel him into heat checking possessions later. Well after we thwarted whatever rally was.
With plenty of time on the shot clock and nobody underneath the basket.
Until Leonard
would yes, he would lose
with
it.
the most animated he's looked since
absolutely lose it.
2011.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you know, I mean, I get why he's considered to be a candidate to leave. He's also been here forever. I feel like X has been here for 9 years.
Well,
now,
yeah, he wasn't eligible his first year.
That's right. That's right. And we got him thinking that Wiggins was coming.
Because they was friends.
Well, they were on the same team. Canada, right?
Yeah, they were on the same AAU team, yeah.
Would have been cool to get Wiggins.
Would have been nice.
You remember that?
See a couple of highlights of his this year, a couple of dunks. Looks like he's grown into his body a little bit.
Yeah, but that is the problem. I was saying this the other day. I was thinking about projecting all of our guys and whatever their careers become, but how nasty is Isaac going to be when he gets some strength, when he gets his man weight and he gets his lower body thicker and stronger so he can get to where he wants to get to on the floor? Right now he can be pushed. He's a little thin, a little wiry, and he's still nasty. But imagine when he has that I don't know, comfort level and the man weight and the strength in his lower half to be able to kind of assert himself. Man, he could be a really good. I could see where if I'm an NBA GM, I'm in absolute love with what that kid is 5 years from now.
Sure, and he cares too. That's
well,
the other
and that's
thing.
it. Yeah, he'll work.
He'll work, and he'll go to the ugly areas in the game. And those are two things that are going to pay dividends if the talent follows through the way it looks like it's most certainly going to follow through.
He'll be a pro's pro, and that's all you can ask for is a guy with talent who's going to work hard to improve said talent and get better every year in the league and be ultra competitive and ultra focused and ultra professional. And I don't think there'll be any question marks about all of those things. He is absolutely beautiful in that way. Good work out of you. On that side of the glass, both of you. Down on the floor, everybody. Front row is coming up next. It'll be good. You should listen to it. Those guys are always great. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be with you tomorrow.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574